Okay, I think we're live on all the places, even on TikTok. We should be good to go. Awesome. And make sure the guest boxes are open too. Gotta make sure the guest boxes are open. All right, we should be good on all the platforms. We should be live on both of our YouTubes, be live on Twitch, be live on TikTok. Should be ready to rock and roll. Before I forget, I need to turn my phone down so my phone doesn't end up being part of the stream. Make sure that's not a problem. Awesome. Welcome in, friends. Hey, it's Friday night. We're going to have, I think, probably one last round of God is a sexual assailant. And then we'll probably go back to our main topic on the next live stream. But it's a good week. You know, somebody once told me a long time ago, you have to strike while the iron's hot. And these like hyper specific topics kind of have to do while the topic is hot. And I think right now is probably about as hot as it's going to get, unless we start arresting politicians in America like they're doing over in the UK, which I don't think we're going to get around to doing, to be honest. I am proud, though, to see that the UK did arrest one of the ex-princes. He's already been dethroned. I'm not sure how you would say it, but Andrew's already been removed. But now I think he's actually been arrested, which is fucking phenomenal. Now America needs to follow suit and get some arrests on the board as well. Gotta lock these perverts up. Ron Money, hey, thanks for the $10 super chat, friend. Says songs for the list. I have no friends. I love you. I have no idea why you keep super chatting me songs to add to the mythical song list. It's in the Discord. You could just go to the Discord and put it in yourself. You can even link to the video. Why does this task keep befalling me? Anyway, thank you nonetheless. Lacuna Coil, Heavens. Oh, that sounds good. Heaven's a Lie and Dream Theater in the Name of God. Now, I don't know Lacuna Coil, but I am actually very familiar with Dream Theater. Big fan. I mean, everyone who has a background like me, who was kind of a metalhead, you're gonna know Dream Theater. They were huge for a long time. I don't know if they're still doing their thing. Is Dream Theater still touring? I bet they are. They're even older than I am, but I bet they are. I mean, I don't know if people are buying their albums at a high rate, which means if they're still making money, I figure it's because they're touring. I bet people still go to see them on tour, but I don't know. I can't think of the last time I saw somebody in the wild that like mentioned buying Dream Theater music. It seems like all of us bought it 20 years ago and we just still have it. W Dream Theater. Hey, Atheist Dude, thanks for the super chat, friend. Says Trump DOJ redacts predator names. Yeah, I saw that. And release victim names. It's crazy. It's crazy. The current DOJ is absolutely out of their mind. It's preposterous to think if we have a blue wave this fall, this November, man, I think we might actually start seeing some people get indicted. And in fact, if we have a blue wave at the next election, it seems like almost impossibility. But you know what's going to happen? I know I can almost predict it for a fact. Trump is going to pardon himself and literally every other person he knows that is in the Epstein files. Wait and watch. He will fucking do it. He will pardon literally fucking everybody in those files before he allows himself to go under. That's what's going to happen. Anyways, yeah, they're redacting the victim names and in not the predator names. I'm sorry, they redacted predator names, not the victim names. Basically says, what you going to do about it? Fascism has taken over. Yeah, that's the name of the game right now. The name of the game is fascism. So, and remember, guys, remember, the right is the party of family values. Never remember it. The right is the party of God and morals and the family values. But we do need to protect the possible assailants, the possible crimes of powerful people. We got to protect that. Sam, aka Shmuley, good to see you, friend. Thank you for this 666. Hail Nero says concubine. John had me yelling at my computer or grinding my teeth. Learn to listen and not just hear. Hear you disgusting. John from the last stream was unfucking believable. I've never seen somebody weaponize stupidity at such a high level. You have to be a really special kind of stupid to think that you can read a verse that quite clearly talks about concubinage, but because the word concubine didn't show up in the paragraph, it's obviously not about concubinage. Pretty crazy. Also, it's funny, the beginning of his argument was that there's nothing wrong with it, but by the end of his argument, he was trying to tell me why it actually was wrong. He couldn't tell me why it was okay back then, but it was wrong today. He got real stuck on that. Which is fine. Actually, I assembled a whole list of resources for today's stream on concubines in the ancient Near East. And when I say sources, I'm not talking about what other people are saying. I mean, actual fucking concubine contracts, marriage contracts, slave contracts from the ancient Near East talking about fucking concubines. So, yeah, if anyone wants to double down on concubines had consent, we'll fucking cook them on that one pretty hard. Ingleba says atheist, First Bible, NRSVU, or Oxford Study Bible. Well, now, friend, you don't have to pick. The newest Oxford Annotated Study Bible, which is coming out as we speak. It's on pre-order. It should be on deliverable before June. They said it's going to be delivering this spring, maybe even by Easter. I can double check. But the 6th edition, the new Oxford Annotated Bible 6th edition, is in the NRSV updated edition. So let me check to see where the deliverable is at right now. Okay, the new Oxford Annotated Bible. Let's see. 6th edition. Let's see. Where are we at for deliverable right now? Okay, so from the Oxford website, from Oxford University Press, last time I checked, they had a deliverable date. Says this item is not yet published. It is available for pre-order, and oh, they pushed it back. Right now, it says it's available for pre-order and will ship on August 14th, 2026. Before, it said prior to summer. Now it's at the end of summer, which means they're probably having some delays. But anyways, you can also, if you want a study Bible in the NRSVU, you can get either of these two. These two Bibles are both in the NRSVUE. This is the update to the HarperCollins, the SBL study Bible. It's a good study Bible. My only complaint is the binding is dog shit. This is the worst binding and the worst printing of any Bible I've ever seen in my entire life. It's horrible. It's barely readable. If you get it, get like the electronic version. This one, on the other hand, has great binding, great printing. This is the Westminster Study Bible. It is in the NRSV updated edition. And you'll see, despite the fact it is quite beefy, the pages are thick enough that you can still read the text. It's not just complete bleed through. On this Bible, the bleed through is so bad, it's almost hard to read. Like even on camera, I bet you can see the bleed through. It's just not good. In real life, in real person, the bleed through is even worse. It's not a good print, but it's a good resource. So those two are used in the NRSV updated edition. If you don't want to wait for the 6th edition of the Oxford. Rational Atheist, thank you for the super chat. Beautiful Puppy says, here's $5, hoping you keep your sanity. If any people like John from last stream call, already on Leviticus and have a few questions for your next Q&A. Big W. Actually, I'm going to be doing a Q&A real soon. So hold tight. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate the support. And yeah, John was something special. John was something special. But anyways, there's a lot of them out there. So we'll see. Mr. Rogue, thank you for the super chat. Friend says, there's nothing wrong with your YouTube. We will control the whores. We will control the verts. Welcome to the Twilight. I mean, the deconstruction zone. Great reference. Great reference. I actually grew up watching the Twilight Zone. Obviously, there were reruns. But I did like the Twilight Zone. I thought it was really good. But you guys know me. I'm a sucker for stories. I love a good story. Even horror stories. I like a really good story, a short story rather. Twilight Zone was one of those cool shows where it was mostly short stories. Kind of like, remember in the 90s, they had that show called 1,000 Ways to Die? I loved it because you could sit down, like every episode had like 3 or 4 stories. You can sit down and just like listen to like a 5-minute story and then get up and fuck off and do something and come back later. I loved short stories. They're phenomenal. Long stories, like long movies, man, I get a little too much ADHD. I always end up going to do something else, and I get distracted. Don't finish it. What are you going to do? All right, last super chat for now. I think we got a guest in the guest box. Dave Dillon, good to see you, buddy. Thank you for the super chat. It says, may miss a lot of tonight's streams, but I'll have a video on demand to catch up on. Rock hard for Doug. Hope the barbecue is hot tonight. Well, Dylan, I'm going to try to keep it hot because we can't go late tonight. I'm waking up super early tomorrow morning, like 4 in the morning early. Because I got to catch a flight. So I'm not going to be up late tonight. In fact, there's another stream. When this stream ends, if it's still going, I'm going to send you over to Crystal's live stream. Crystal is doing a really cool live stream tonight with our friend Carnage. And they're going to be doing an atheist live stream for matchmaking and love advice. It's going to be a lot of fun. Anyways, I want to see it. So I'm not going late tonight because I got to be up super early in the morning, and I want to send everybody over there because Crystal's fucking awesome, and we got to support people in our community, especially when they're doing new, really cool stuff that nobody else is doing. I don't think anyone else is doing this yet. All right, let's get our first guest. How you doing, Ballant?
Hey man, I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. Ballant, are you at least 18, and do you believe in the Abrahamic God?
I'm 35 and I am struggling with that and wanted to ask you a question.
Sure.
So I've watched you for a while, and Ian, and I'm gonna phrase this as like my friend is struggling with this type of thing, but like I don't know if you're familiar with 12-step stuff, and kind of. I also got on your live one time to talk about the Carl Jung varieties of religious experiences. My friend is struggling with trying to do the 12 steps without the whole higher power thing. And so I'm curious because I feel that like, and I think a lot of people who believe in God, that was in air quotes, are really just believing in that feeling that they're getting from thinking that there's a God there. So the last time I tried to talk to you about it, I don't think I phrased it very well, and it maybe wasn't appropriate for the debate, but just kind of your 2 cents on that.
Sure. So I get it. I really do. So I'm really lucky that my genetics are such that I've never had addictions. I'm just like every substance I've tried has never been addictive to me. And so, but I come from a family full of addicts. There are so many addicts in my family, and I've seen almost all of the ones that got clean. I've seen almost all of them get clean going through AA or NA. And yeah, for them, they said that the higher power part really helped them. And so I'm certainly the type of person where, like, listen, if I have to pick between somebody either being strung out or believing in a higher power, let them have the higher power. It's not, listen, it doesn't bother me at all whether you think that higher power is real or not. As long as that higher power isn't a despicable entity that thinks that you can like marry children or hate gay people, different things like that, right? So that being said, there are some there are some organizations that do secular recovery programs. Dr. Joe knows a lot about them actually, because she is even though she's a licensed therapist, she does a lot of work with the recovery community. And so she knows a lot of secular recovery programs that might be helpful. But my 2 cents, listen, if someone comes to me and say, listen, I know the Bible God doesn't make a lot of sense, but believing in a higher power is helping me with my addiction. Honestly, I'm going to tell you, do whatever keeps you clean.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that. And that's kind of where my friend is struggling. It's like, I listen to you and I listen to Ian, and I'm just like, dude, this just makes so much sense, and this other stuff makes zero sense and is absolutely ridiculous. But then it's kind of like, okay, but what am I supposed to do then? If you know, and that's what I mentioned, that Carl Jung thing. It's like it's the belief in. It's not even the higher power, because you could have a Muslim believing in this God or whatever in two separate scenarios, and they both get better. So which God did it, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. And like, it's funny, I used to work back when I was in my last 2 years of high school, actually. I worked at a call center, and we did all kind of outbound calls back when people would actually pick up that kind of stuff. But I worked with this interesting fella that he got the job after he completed his AA program. It was part of his, like, they helped him find a job, and it was an easy job to pick up. And I was asking him, because he kept saying things like, well, my God allows me, my God doesn't allow me. And finally I asked him, I said, what do you mean your God? Which God are you talking about? This doesn't sound like any God I've ever heard of. He's like, well, in AA, we just need a higher power. He's like, so I just figured out a higher power that worked for me. And it makes sense. So I just refer to it as my God. It's not one of the traditional gods. And I'm like, you know what? That's great. If it helps keep you clean. So like, if your God is peaceful, listen, I don't have nothing against it.
All right, man. Yeah, no, I really appreciate it. I'll keep listening to you. I enjoy, and just again, the last thing, and it's just like when I hear I don't know, it just makes so much sense to me, like everything, and I'm just like, the other stuff just doesn't. So, but
Yeah.
anyways, thanks, man. I'll keep
Yeah.
listening. Big
Tell your
fan.
friend
Thanks.
that he's doing a hard thing. It's really fucking hard. He should be proud of himself.
Thank you. I will let him know.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's hard. It's a hard road, y'all. Like I always wonder what things would have been, what would have been different in my life if I was born with addictive chemistry. Because that's for a lot of people, that's really what it comes down to. I've got a sister who's now been sober for 7 years, but like when I have too much alcohol, like I just want to go to bed. Like I just get tired, right? When she has alcohol, it's like every time it's the best time she's ever had, except she always drinks too much and then it turns into the worst time she's ever had. But that's the difference. Like I can have the alcohol and for me it's like a downer. I'm just like, oh, I just needed to fucking go to bed now. She has alcohol and like now she's the life of the party. She's having the time of her life and so it's just so much of this. I think people look at addicts like they're weak or they don't have discipline, they don't have self-control, but that's usually not the fucking case. It just isn't. People fall into addiction for many reasons, and there's a reason why nowadays we classify it as a genetic component. It's something that you're either born with those genes or you're not. And I was just lucky that I won the lottery and I wasn't born with those genes. Get Gina. Hey, thanks for the super chat, friend. Big W says, whenever Justin says wrong again, it makes me giggle. You know what? I do say that a lot. I don't know where I got that from. I don't even know why. Like, but I've been saying it all my life. I have no idea where I picked it up at, but the minute I hear somebody saying something stupid, it's the first thought in my mind. Nope, wrong again. Wrong. Maybe because I grew up watching too many game shows. I did enjoy a lot of quiz game shows. If y'all think about, like, you guys know I'm a real pop culture loser. I don't know anything from pop culture. But if you actually ask me about what kind of things I did watch when I was younger, I watched a lot of game shows and trivia. I fucking liked learning, what are you going to do? And Nui, hey, thanks. Wait, and Nui and then some. Oh, All right. Hey, thanks for the super chat. Friend says, what's your take on what the original Christology, low or high? Oh, so actually, I agree with Bart Ehrman and a lot of others. I believe originally in a low Christology, I believed Mark was an adoptionist gospel. I think that makes sense with the Hebrew Bible. I think you can have an adopted son of God according to the Hebrew Bible. That's not really a problem. But this actual, like, real live son of God nonsense and the Trinity and all that bullshit, I don't find that to be part of the earliest strain of Christianity. And you can see that. Look, read the Gospel of Mark and just see how it paints Jesus. And then read John, the latest gospel. Unless it's possible Luke was written later, or it's possible parts of Luke were written later. That's a whole other story. But traditionally, John is the latest gospel. And just look at how different they depict Jesus. And when I was in high school, people would laugh at me now. My favorite gospel right now for a long time has been Matthew. But when I was in high school, I used to tell people my favorite gospel is always the Gospel of John because it shows the true character of Christ. But that's only true if you believe that all of the Bible is true and that it's giving you like progressive revelation. So in my mind, I was like, this is the full picture, right? But in reality, that's not really the full picture. That's a nonsense picture that they tacked on to what probably was a real historical kernel. It's preposterous, actually. Matthew, hey, thanks for the super chat, friend. Are those chihuahuas? Oh. Cute little chihuahuas. Says, and in some additional good news this week, love to hear it, a court in South Korea sentenced former prime minister to life in prison for attempting a coup, if only. Oh, fuck, I know. Could you imagine if we had a functioning government, what we would have done to everybody involved in J6? It's crazy. Now, here's the thing. I don't believe that we should be intentionally seeking to lock up political opponents. That's a terrible fucking precedent to set. Terrible precedent. We shouldn't be trying to do that. That being said, if they're committing horrible crimes, at some point we do have to kind of lock them the fuck up. Like that's how that works. Or else we no longer have a society anymore. Well, let's grab, I think we've got a guest waiting to get in, so let's grab our first guest here. How you doing, Perfect Masculinity?
What up?
Yeah, that's about what I expected to hear. Are you at least 18, and do you believe in the Abrahamic God?
I'm over 18, and yeah, I know God.
Cool. Is it the Christian variety?
He's beyond that.
Is it Abrahamic variety?
Yeah, he was Abraham's father, yes.
Gotcha. And is this God depicted in the Bible?
Yeah, they wrote the Bible about him, yeah.
Gotcha. So then you and I are talking about the same God. So my claim here is pretty simple. The God of the Bible is he should be fucking locked up because he condones the same type of behavior that is in the Epstein files. Do you agree or disagree with that?
I feel like your opinion is irrelevant.
Well, I can just show you in the Bible where it says it.
Where's your moral grounding that anything that Epstein did is wrong?
I didn't say that it was. I can just show you in the Bible where my claim is true, though. Want me to show you?
You think that God should be locked up for it, right?
Now, I do, because I have subjective morals. But again, I won't allow you to pivot. The topic is actually pretty clear.
Fuck your subjective morals.
The topic's pretty clear, which is the Bible condones some of the behavior that Epstein did. And I can just show you where that's true.
So what?
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you think that it's okay to rape little girls?
Based on the worldview that you have with your subjective morals,
just asking, do you think it's okay to rape little girls?
So what?
Just curious, do you think it's okay to rape little girls?
Based on the worldview that you just said is subjective that you have.
He'll never engage.
So what?
He'll never engage.
Hold on, wait. I asked you a question.
If it's crazy that someone with the name Perfect Masculinity is going to come in here and act like an absolute little bitch and run away from the easiest question of the night. I'm not shocked, though. I've never heard or seen anybody with the moniker masculinity in their name and found them to be very masculine. Typically, they're compensating. Typically, it's like the equivalent of driving a jacked up pickup truck, even though you don't have any need for it. And now he's crashing out on mute, I assume.
Right. So I asked you a question first. I'll be happy to answer yours.
That's adorable, but it's my live stream. So what's going to happen is you're going to either engage in the topic or I'll move on to an adult who will.
Fine by me, bud.
Okay. Bye. Wow, what a masculine guy. I think I got a little chubby there. How you doing, Loss?
Good. How are you, brother?
You know, I can't complain too much. Loss, are you at least 18?
I'm 27.
Cool. And do you believe in the Abrahamic God?
I'm a little on the I don't know side. I will say that to contradict your prompt, you have to mention Baal as well, because Epstein had a bank account named Baal, and he was actually worshiping Baal than the God in the Christian Bible, as you
I
said.
think you're confused. My claim is not that Epstein worshipped God.
Oh, I read that wrong.
Yeah, it's okay.
Oh,
So my
sorry.
basic claim is, it's all right, it happens. My basic claim is that the types of behaviors that Epstein and his co-conspirators engaged in is similar behaviors that the God of the Bible condones.
I have to
see?
do more research. Yeah, you know what? Show me. Why not? I might learn something. So.
Yeah, I've got quite a few examples, but I think this might be my favorite one because I think it's pretty clear.
Right.
When a man sells his daughter as a slave, she shall not go out as the male slaves do. If she does not please her master, who designated her for himself, then he shall let her be redeemed. He shall have no right to sell her to a foreign people, since he has dealt unfairly to her. So the gist here is I think is pretty simple, which is that you can sell your daughter as a concubine / sex slave.
Yeah, see, some of the I will admit, some of the verses in the Bible, I get confused because that's why I have to start asking. I'm like, did this literally happen? Because, I'm still
Yeah.
questioning the faith. Like, I'm curious about it. Because I'm new to the whole church thing. And I saw, like, stuff like in Samuel, and I was thinking, like, so is this, is this true? Like, is this what happens? And they tell me, like, something totally different. They told me, like, oh, well, the Israelites, they were being attacked from behind because of the woman and everything, all this other stuff. But then God was trying to unalive, like, the children and stuff like that. So,
Yes. Yeah, you heard both sides correct. So in Exodus 17, they did attack from the rear, which is like a cowardly move. But also, God waited 400 years to murder all of them, and then he says he's going to murder the babies as well, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. Okay. Well, you keep doing your thing, brother. Epstein is evil as hell.
Yeah, we're with you. We're with you.
All right, so you take it easy, okay?
Yep. Cheers, buddy.
See you, man.
I do love to hear people like learning. Like I know there are a certain amount of people that are on TikTok that are just bouncing around trying to learn stuff, and it brings me great joy. It really does. Hey Sam, thanks for the follow. Super chat says YouTube doesn't like POSFF referring to John. No, you know what? I didn't clip John yet. I know a lot of people asked me to clip him right away, but maybe you'll have to take a vote on it. Let me know how you feel about it. I like to clip people like 2 or 3 months after they've been on the show, so that some people have already forgotten about them. And then when they see it again, they're like, oh, I forgot about this motherfucker. What did he do again? So I try to create some gap between when they're on live and when they get clipped. So maybe that's not the right thing to do. You guys can let me know. But I personally, the way my brain works, I personally think that's the tactic that makes the most sense. But John is for sure on the clip list. Dude's getting clipped. Gosh, hey, thanks so much for gifting out 5 DZ Debate memberships. I really appreciate that, friend. Reverend Chad says, clip him now. You know what? Maybe. Only only on rare occasions have I clipped somebody immediately after they came on. I'm thinking like Hadassah was one of them. Minar, I think I clipped pretty close to after he came on. Like if they're literally insane, if they're literally out of their mind, yeah, I'm gonna clip them pretty fucking quick. Well, strike while the iron's hot type of thing. But anyways, yeah, I'm still testing out the best of the best methods. Hey, German, hey, thanks for the 666. Hell Nero says, how do young Earthers explain the Andromeda Galaxy being 2.5 million light years away? If the universe is only 6 to 10,000 years old, we wouldn't see it yet. So this is the interesting thing. So, and this is actually an apologetic that I would have used when I was a Christian. The apologetic is essentially when God created the universe, he created it with an age. Just like he created Adam and Eve weren't created as babies. They were created as fully formed adults. Christians will say the universe was created as fully formed adult, meaning it looks every bit like it would if it had grown up from a baby state. So that's typically how they would do it. Now, not everybody knows that apologetic, which means there are some people out there when you argue, well, yeah, how do you fucking explain redshift? Then they're gonna be like, I don't know how to explain redshift, right? But that being the case, that's the apologetic they would use. And to be fair, like, not bad, that if you're gonna have an apologetic for that would be the best of them, I think. People ask me sometimes, like, if I look up, when I come up with arguments, do I look up the apologetic? Like, I already know all the apologetics. I used to regurgitate them. There's nothing new under the sun. Oppo, my friend, thank you for the super chat. Says, I went to my local pound to potentially adopt a new dog, but all I saw were two raging donkeys named Courtney and Constantine. Are they fucking streaming together? Are Courtney and Constantine crying on live streams together now? I bet both of them just constantly seethe at the mouth that me and Tovia Stinger exist. I've never met two individuals that were more angry and upset at my existence than those two. They're pretty fucking wild. Also, Just Rancher, thank you for the super chat, says, did we lose how to say Yahweh because Bondi redacted it? Saw stuff came out. Greg Laurie, not Epstein related. Crazy to me. I went to his Harvest Crusade. Oh shit, you did. Damn. I never went to any of those large churches or sat underneath like a popular preacher. It wasn't really my flavor. I would visit every once in a while just for the funsies, but we had a really big one, not too far from where I live. You guys know Ernest Angley. He dropped off hard in like the late 90s though, once he got older. But Ernest Angley finally died. It's funny because Ernest Angley was one of those preachers. He was an end times preacher, and he used to say that Jesus is coming back before he dies. And I remember even he died at 100 years old. Even when he was like 98, he was still getting up and preaching sometimes. And he'd be like, the reason why God allowed me to be this age is because he knows he's not coming back. He knows that I'm going to be alive when he comes back. So he's like, maybe I'll be 120. Like, motherfucker, you can barely walk. You're not going to be 120. that Sky Carcass ain't coming back. You're going to die like the rest of us. Jesus ain't coming, y'all. He's done. He's in a body bag. He's toast. He's worm food. How's 70? Good to see you. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. It says trad addiction is mostly a direct chemical response. I don't know what trad means, but trad addiction is a chemical response of brain receptors, but addiction to an idea like religion is a whole nother level. Brain gets in a positive feedback loop to its own dopamine. Fair point, and like there are some things that we get addicted to that we don't consider addictive, but they actually are. I think one of the ones that really gets a slide a lot is sugar. Oh my God, is sugar addictive? But because it doesn't have an immediate impact on your health, it seems to have a long-term impact on your health. People don't really classify it as an addictive, dangerous substance, but that shit is addictive, man. You get used to having sugar every day, lots of it, it'll fuck you up. Yeah, you got to watch out for that sugar. And even like the sugar-free stuff now, I'm learning a lot of the sugar-free stuff has got harmful stuff in it too. So I'm like, well, fuck, I'm getting to a point where I basically just got to start drinking water like Ian. This, if you don't want to like accidentally give yourself brain cancer from fake sweeteners. Adam, hey, thanks so much for the $10 super chat. Says, I try not to reinforce the schism, but it must be said the only true scripture for DZ adherence is Westcott and whores. Oh, amazing reference, by the way. If you know about Westcott and whores, that's a really good one, by the way. I am shocked, maybe shocked and chagrined, that Westcott and whores has not been mentioned yet. This is the inaugural mention of Westcott and whores, and I absolutely approve. That was genius, actually. That was really good. Chris Lambert, hey, thanks for the super chat, says it's really interesting. Also, welcome everybody in from the Ian stream. We're just getting started. We're getting kicked off here. We're waiting for some actual opposition to get into the guest box. Sure, we'll have some opposition here in a minute. Chris Lambert says, it's really interesting to watch the U.S. problem with Christianity coming from the U.K., as we are generally all culturally Christian, but functional atheists. Yeah, that's been my understanding. And I don't think it's just the U.K. I think it's a lot of Europe is that way now, where there's a lot of like cultural Christians, but they're not really doing the Christian thing anymore. In fact, there are Americans that are like missionaries in Europe because trying to get the backslidden Christians back in the church properly. And so, it's just one of those funny things. It's funny, I actually met a missionary in America from like one of the African countries. He was a missionary to Americans trying to get backslidden Americans into the church. So it's interesting as these hyper-religious cultures fall away, how the cultures that are still hyper-religious view you. So there's definitely going to come a time in the future where other nations that we fucking colonized with our dumb religion are going to look at us and be like, oh, we need to send missionaries and reintegrate the Americans with Christianity. It's pretty fucking wild, actually. Oh, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Atheist Gamers, hey, thanks for the super chat. Says, it pisses me off when I hear someone say, God got me clean. I got myself clean. I worked harder and I busted ass to have the life I have now. And you deserve it, Atheist Gamer. Getting off of a substance, I've witnessed a lot of shit. And I grew up, I did not have an easy upbringing. I had to deal with some shit. But I have never seen something more difficult in my life than watching somebody get clean. I can't imagine having to go through that. Having to get clean, the worst. Like, if I would say what's next on the worst thing after that, is like having to lose one of your children. It's such a difficult process. There's a reason why so many people go into rehab time and time and time and time again. It's not because they're weak. It's because that's how fucking addiction works. It feels like you're gonna die when you don't get the thing. It's a crazy way our body works. In fact, I think it's a really good argument against God, to be fair. I think if God is all good, all loving, and all powerful, and God designed humans in a way in which he fucking knew that they would get chemically addicted to stuff quite often on accident, that's crazy. A God who knew somebody was going to take a substance and get so addicted to it, it will ruin their entire life. And God's like, yeah, I'll fucking do that. That's what we're going to do. That's a crazy God. Retired Bomb Tech, hey, thank you for the $20 super chat. Great to see you tonight. It says, good news. Wife's kidney surgery was a success. That's what we like to hear. Happy to hear it. Family helped out more than they had to, so I'm not leaving this awesome channel of you. I'm not leaving this awesome channel you have. Make sure you check your kidneys, folks. Kidney disease is a silent killer, and that is true. never think that like you're too young to get a checkup either. If something's off, get it checked out. I've got a family member in his 20s that had to get polyps removed, which typically isn't something they even check for until you're like 45 plus. So it's, guys, if something's off, go see a doctor. And if a doctor doesn't actually want to see you, go see another doctor. In fact, I'll tell you, I had a situation where I chipped a vertebrae. And I knew something was terribly fucking wrong. And something had been wrong for a long time. It was very painful. Something was really off. And I went to see a spine specialist it was like the spine and neuro clinic at Cleveland Clinic. And I saw this guy and I described him what was going on and everything. He didn't even fucking touch me. He didn't take an x-ray, nothing. He looked at me, asked me like 5 questions, and was like, well, take some more painkillers like Advil and come back in a month if it still hurts. I'm like, you out of your goddamn mind? Then I went to a guy that does sports medicine. And by sports medicine, I mean he's mostly how should I say? He's a chiropractor that does a little extra. And when I described to him what I was experiencing, he's like, holy shit, let's get some x-rays now. And it turned out all the pain was because I had a fucking chipped vertebrae. And so he actually helped me get fixed up. So listen, if you're having real pain in your body and you go see a doctor and a doctor downplays it, tell him to go stuff it. I'm paying you. Recommend me to somebody that actually wants to help. Don't let a doctor minimize what's happening to you. It's your body, it's your life. Get the care you need. All right, off of that fucking soapbox. Manila is in the guest box crying. Literally been here for 5 seconds and is crying in the chat. Take me in. It's crazy. Does that work for you, Manila? Is that a tactic that works for you? You get in people's guest box and just start shouting, "Put me in, coach." I'll never understand the entitlement of some of these fools. Hey, Sonus, thank you so much for the 20 DZ Debate gifted memberships. I really fucking appreciate that, friend. That is huge. And it really helps the channel a lot. It helps a tremendous amount. Thank you so much. All right, let's get Supernatural Faith in here, and hopefully we'll get some conversation rolling. How you doing, Supernatural?
I'm doing good. I don't mean to get off topic, but I have a few questions. So,
well, we are specifically on topic. That's why we have topics.
What the topic is?
Your God should be in the Epstein files. In fact, is in the Epstein files and condones SA.
I never heard of that. Like, what is that?
What's what, SA?
Like the topic, like, I don't know what that is.
I guess I'm confused about why you're confused. It's pretty clear. If you just look at the Epstein files, God is in there 22,000 times, and it's also true that in the Bible he condones sexual assault.
So God condone, like he allows sexual assault?
He condones
That's
it,
what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
So can you show me a verse?
Yeah.
Like what?
Sure can. Yep, not a problem.
Because
So,
I think I know what you're talking about.
You might, yeah,
Okay.
it's possible. This is one I was working on just a minute ago. It says, when a man sells his daughter as a slave, she shall not go out as the male slaves do. If she does not please her master, who designated her for himself, then he shall let her be redeemed, so on and so forth. So this is a woman who's being sold as a slave / concubine, which is basically just a sex slave.
Well, it don't say nothing about, it don't really say nothing about like sex. I mean, it's a slave though.
Nope. So it says, if she does not please her master who designated her for himself. That word designate in English is the same word that gets used in the King James for betrothed elsewhere. It means that you've selected a woman that is going to belong to you sexually.
Oh, well, I'm gonna do more reading on that because like I personally believe that, like when I'm because I just feel like slavery back in those days, like, is like everybody thinks God is not loving because slavery He allows it, and I believe that slavery back in those days in the Bible wasn't like the slave like how we experienced recently in those times.
Well, actually, I don't think it's really different. I think the only difference is like modern slavery was more about race than anything else. But I'm not sure that matters. I don't think even if slavery is not race based, I still think it's the same level of terrible. So I don't know if comparing it to the slave trade matters. Like,
So
would you want to
when
be a
God,
slave?
I mean, we every day people are slaves when they work. We work for somebody.
No, certainly not. What you do at work, is that comparable to what the African Americans went through when they were slaves?
Oh, it's different. It's different. It's just like when you
Oh, okay.
working.
So it is that
No,
it's not slavery then. Okay,
it
just checking.
oh no, well, it's not slavery, but it's like similar to slave. Like, why do you think people say I don't want to slave and work for somebody? Like, you
It's
have okay when
That's
you
an
work at a
idiom, my
job.
friend.
When you work at a job, right? You have free will to leave. They're not telling you what to do, but it's like you're
There we
working for
go.
somebody. They the one paying you money.
So then it
Like
doesn't
you,
meet the definition of slavery then. The definition of slavery is that you don't get the option to leave, you don't get to choose your work, you don't get paid.
okay. So do you think when God says obey your masters, you think that's not a loving God?
Oh no, I don't think that has anything to do with whether or not God is loving. I don't think that verse alone tells you much about God other than that he's okay with slaves. But my point is this: God could have said, "Don't own any slaves."
So he said own slaves. Like, what do you mean? Okay, so
Yeah,
when he say like, own slaves, isn't owning slaves is like because I think I don't know, isn't like they're like working for somebody?
no. In fact, I can show you in Leviticus 25. He explicitly makes a difference between workers and slaves. So he says, if any who are dependent on you become so impoverished that they sell themselves to you, you shall not make them serve as slaves. They shall remain with you as hired or bound laborers. They shall serve you until the year of Jubilee. Then they and their children with them shall go out from your authority. They shall go back to their own family and return to their ancestral property, for they are my servants who I brought out of the land of Egypt, and they shall not be sold as slaves are sold. So he says, listen, don't make permanent slaves of your Hebrew brethren. But then he says, as for the male and female slaves who you may have, it is from the nations around you that you may acquire male and female slaves. You may also acquire them from among the aliens residing with you, and from their families who are with you, who have been born in your land. They may be your property. You may keep them as a possession for your children after you, for them to inherit as property. So,
So I mean I read that before and like I really don't I do know what they mean, but it's like at the same time I kind of don't because it's like it's I have to do more research on that. But so what do you so basically what you just read like what is it telling you like what did God mean by this
I think it's
like the
pretty
law?
easy. Yeah, he says that he doesn't want your Hebrew brethren to become permanent property, but it's okay to make permanent property of foreigners.
So is about so when this so is this slavery about like whooping people or beating people or is it
Yeah,
different?
no, it's the same. If you go to Exodus 21, 20 through 21, oop, I missed a zero. There we go. You'll see that you can beat them. When a slave owner strikes a male or female slave with a rod and the slave dies immediately, the owner shall be punished. But if the slave survives for a day or two, there's no punishment, for the slave is the owner's property.
Well, it's saying if they whoop you with a rod and if they survive, there's no punishment.
No, no, no. If they survive only for a day or two.
Uh, I don't.
So you can beat your slave so severely that if it dies a week later, you won't be held liable. It's presumed to be an accident, which is fine because the slave is your owner's property. They're not a direct link of guilt there. But in the Hebrew text, it actually says when a slave owner strikes a male or Hebrew slave with a rod and it dies under his hand, meaning as he's beating him. So That's why it says if the slave dies immediately, the owner gets punished, because you're not supposed to murder your Hebrew slaves. Keep in mind, Exodus 21 is about Hebrews. You're not supposed to murder your fellow Hebrew slaves, but you can beat them for sure.
Okay, so when they can, this is kind of hard to explain. So you're saying that God allows the slaves to beat you, right?
Well, the slaves aren't beating anyone. That's what the slave master's doing.
Okay. Well, yeah.
I knew what you
So
meant. I'm just playing. I knew you meant the slave owner.
no, because I had a few. Well, I had a few questions, but we have to stay
Mhm.
on the topic because I had other questions I wanted to say.
I
If
mean,
that's okay.
you're nice enough. Typically I don't let people change the topic, but you haven't been a prick, so I'll let you do it.
Okay, so you as a pastor, were you a Protestant or a Catholic or anything?
I was a Protestant, but I believed more in the Catholic doctrine than the Protestant doctrine. I was a Protestant because the Catholic Church is an evil entity that molested and sexually assaulted children for the better part of about 1,200 years.
Okay, so what made you stop believing in like God? Like, was it like because lack of faith, like no evidence, lack of faith or whatever?
Well, I
Like,
stopped believing in the Bible God because I studied the Bible.
okay, so do you believe Jesus was a person that walked the earth?
Um, I tend to believe he is. I think I could be persuaded to think that he's not, but I think the reasonable, for me at least, the most reasonable thing is that he likely was a real person. I don't think we know much about him. I think what the Bible says about him is mostly legendary, but I do believe he was a real person.
Okay, so as a Christian, like you know how Islam have Allah as God and Christianity they have Jesus. So how do we
Mhm.
know which one is the real God?
Neither.
Okay, so you don't believe there's an afterlife?
Nope.
And how would you know because we haven't died yet?
I've been dead twice.
How?
My heart
When
stopped.
you like huh?
My heart stopped. I died. I was gone. Out.
You had surgery?
Nope.
Hold on, wait. So you saying you died like your heart stopped? Like what happened? Like how did
My
you
heart
die?
locked up. Heart failure.
So how long you been dead?
Probably about 12 minutes.
Okay, so this is my last question. So I feel like as atheists, like when they say they don't believe in an afterlife, I feel like I don't know. I just feel like nobody really knows. Not only that, nobody really knows. Like when you look at the universe, nobody knows where the universe came from or who created the universe. Even though you could say, "Oh, I don't believe in the creator," nobody really knows.
Well, I don't
Like
believe the
nobody
universe
really,
was created. I don't know if you
like
talked to a
nobody
lot of
knows.
atheists, so there's no good reason to believe that the universe was even created, and there's no evidence that the universe once didn't exist. For all the data we have, it seems to suggest, at least to me, that the universe always existed.
Okay. Well, like, do you you don't believe in reincarnation, right?
No, no, I don't. And one of the reasons why I think reincarnation and I think the afterlife are kind of silly to me, is because we know for a fact that our entire solar system is going to be destroyed eventually. The sun's going to swell up. In about 1 billion years, the sun is going to completely destroy the Earth. In another 4 billion years, we're likely to get destroyed. It's not a guarantee, but we're likely to get destroyed when we collide with the Andromeda Galaxy. So wherever this alternative, wherever the afterlife is supposed to be, it's obviously in some kind of alternative universe. But also, it seems like on all the evidence that people would point to for the afterlife, it always seems to suggest that the afterlife, the spirit world, is still like right fucking here, but it can't be right here if this planet is going to get annihilated.
Yeah. I just think though, me, I'm a Christian, so it's like I feel like most Christians believe because that's the only choice. They have no choice. But like I said, nobody really knows if a afterlife really exists or not. Like me, for example, I could be a Christian, you an atheist. One of us got to be wrong.
Well, we could both be wrong, which is a really interesting thing. It's possible that polytheism is true. I mean, there's a lot of options out there, but here's what I would say, right? Is it possible? I'm not asking if it's likely, right? Is it possible that somewhere on another planet, somewhere in the universe, there are unicorns?
I mean, I feel like anything is possible.
Okay, so my point is, something being possible doesn't mean you should believe in it. I agree, it is possible that there could be something we classify as a god out there, but until we have evidence of it, I don't think you should believe in the thing. Once there becomes evidence for it, I'm more than happy to believe in it.
Oh yeah, I mean, so when you read, like, when they talk about, when people say Jesus is not real, and when they say, well, read the Bible, it tells you, is the Bible enough evidence or no?
I don't think so, because the Bible says stuff all the time that's just not true. So, like, even Jesus in Matthew 16, Matthew 24, Matthew 10, Jesus says his second coming is happening within the lifetime of his disciples, and then it doesn't happen.
Well, because nobody knows when it's going to happen.
But he says that he knows. He says that he doesn't know the day nor the hour, but he does know the cutoff point. It's going to happen within that generation. So he was just wrong. I'm not lying to you. I can show you the verses if you want. Matthew 10:23, Matthew 16. Yeah, Matthew 6. Yeah, 16. In fact, are you Catholic?
I'm about to be Easter.
Oh, you're about to be Catholic. Okay. So I was in Catholic school when I first found these passages, and I still remember the answer my teacher gave me. I don't think it's a good answer, but I don't think there is a good answer for it. So in Matthew 20:23, he sends his disciples out to the villages to preach. And he says, when they persecute you in this town, flee to the next, for truly I tell you, you will not have finished going through all the towns of Israel before the Son of Man comes. Well, the coming of the Son of Man is a very defined, clear event. It's the event that's described in Daniel chapter 7, where one like the Son of Man meets the Lord in the clouds, and God, Yahweh, meets Yahweh in the clouds and receives basically the keys to the entire kingdom and sets up his domain on the earth. That's what it means, the coming of the Son of Man. It means you're coming with Yahweh on the clouds, which is why the New Testament always describes the coming of the Son of Man as on the clouds. Then Matthew 16, it says the Son of Man is to come with his angels, obviously, because the angels are up there in the clouds with God. In the glory of his Father, and he will repay everybody for what has been done. Truly I tell you, there are some standing here who will not taste death before they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom, which again seems to be a very clear reference to Daniel chapter 7, as is Matthew 24, which is explicit. In Matthew 24, his disciples ask him at the beginning of the chapter, what signs do we look for to know when you're coming? And he says, immediately after the suffering of those days, the sun will be darkened, the moon will not give its light, the stars will fall from heaven, and the powers of heaven will be shaken. Then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in heaven, and all the tribes of the earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven. Because remember, he's coming from heaven with power and great glory. He will send out his angels with a loud trumpet call, and they will gather his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. And then he says, from the fig tree, learn its lesson. As soon as its branch becomes tender, puts forth its leaves, you know that summer is near. So also, when you see all of these things, you know that he is near at the very gates. Truly, I tell you, this generation will not pass away until all of these things have taken place. And the reality is, all those things never took place, and that generation's all gone.
So so you don't believe we have a soul or spirit?
Nah.
So for example, if we did have a soul, if we had a soul and we pass away, what's gonna happen with our soul then?
Well, if we have a soul, I think Buddhism is true. So in Buddhism, they believe in spirits, but they don't believe in a god, typically. I do know, I have one friend who's a Buddhist down in Florida, and she does, they're from Vietnam, she does actually believe in some kind of a vague god concept, but most of them don't believe in God.
So basically, you're saying like it would be like Buddhists, like if someone passes away and they have a soul, like you're saying like they'll be reincarnated.
Well, I don't think Buddhists always believe in reincarnation like the Hindus do. I think Buddhism is kind of a unique religion where they have multiple belief systems. So some of them might believe in reincarnation, but some of them just believe in spirits. Like your spirit lives on past your body.
Because I feel like most people believe in reincarnation more than heaven and hell. You ever thought of that?
I don't know what you mean by most. I would say like in the Eastern world, yes. If you go to
I
the
know
East,
even in America, like the Western religions. Well, people in America, like a lot of people like believes in that because you like only Christians like believes in heaven and hell, but a lot of non-Christians. I don't know if you call them like the New Age movement people or spiritual people or pagans, something.
yeah. I mean, New Age people have a large range of beliefs. In fact, there's some New Age people that follow my channel. In fact, put a one in the comments if you left like one of these Abrahamic religions and now you believe in some sort of New Age spirituality. There definitely are a contingency of people who left that and is now in New Age, but I don't know if there's like a single overarching theme within the New Age belief system.
So when you had a heart failure, how did how did they revive you?
Well, it's interesting. The two that I remembered, I've had quite a few of them, but the two that I remember, I came to on my own. So the last one I had, I was 6, and my father, who is a wonderful human being, peace be upon him, he let me and my twin brother watch The Gremlins, and it's not really a horror scary movie, but it was holiday themed. So if it tells you kind of how old I am. But anyways, there's a moment where there's like a gremlin that pops up on screen and it's supposed to be kind of a scary moment. And given my heart condition, probably wasn't a great idea. But it scared me and my heart locked up and then I lost consciousness on the couch. Thank goodness my dad was in the living room with me and my brother too. And so he threw me in the truck and started racing to the hospital. I actually regained consciousness sometime later before we made it to the hospital. So he ended up stopping short of the hospital, and we ended up going over to my my mom's place. So my parents had separated. So rather than in lieu of going to the hospital, he went over to my mom's place, and then they discussed whether or not I should go to the hospital, and then we ended up going back home. So that was the last one I remember. But I had so many heart failures as a child that you know, they knew I didn't always have to go to the hospital if I came out of it. So I had what's basically akin to a mechanical failure. So there's a valve that goes between true ventricles in the heart when you're in utero. Now, once you are born, that valve, that opening is supposed to close up. It closes up typically within 1 to 2 weeks. Mine didn't. Mine ended up taking about 12 years to close. So what that means is every once in a while, the fluid couldn't transfer where it needed to go in my heart, and it would cause my heart to seize up. It had like a mechanical failure. So, but typically, if I came out of it, I was fine. Like, they don't have to typically take me to the hospital. So that last time, I ended up not going to the hospital, but pretty much every time prior to that, I was in the hospital.
So another reason too why I believe God exists or possibly spirits, I don't know. I don't know. Do you watch documentaries?
Love them. Yeah.
So when you watch documentaries, like do you believe documentaries could be based on true stories that really happened?
Sometimes I've done enough like I've seen enough documentaries and actually known people that have been in documentaries to know that they do have a tendency to stretch the facts a little bit to kind of try to be more sensational. That being said, there have been some really good documentaries on the afterlife. I've seen them. I've read the books, and I do believe if we discover that there's some kind of an afterlife, I still don't think it's going to be connected to any type of a god. So the closest we've gotten so far, I think, is Sam Parnia led 2 different studies, the Aware Project 1 and the Aware Project 2. And this stretched, the span of over 15 years, where they retrofitted 25 plus hospitals in rooms with items that you could only see if you had like left your body. And then they would quiz people on their experiences when people had heart failure or some other problem and they reported leaving their body or they reported being alive after death. They would record their experience and document it. And the first project ended, didn't yield any results. It basically said nobody could validate their story. Nobody ever saw or heard anything post-death that they shouldn't have been able to. These are people's imaginations. The Aware Project number 2, when they did it again, was bigger. It was actually really interesting. They had one person out of the whole project, just one person, that according to Sam Parnia, the guy who led it, not according to all of his buddies, a lot of people were involved. He believed that this person was able to hear things after they shouldn't have been able to hear things. And so for him, he thought that was a really interesting possible proof that consciousness lives on after you actually die. But not everybody on the project agreed. There's some people that agreed to a different set of facts, which is obviously sometimes the brain continues to function for a long time after we've supposedly died, longer than we actually thought was possible. But other than those two projects, I don't know of any two projects that have been scientifically done that could get anything close to demonstrating an afterlife.
So when you look, okay, so when you like, I feel like when you look at I mean, this might sound funny, but like when you look at hear stories about exorcisms and stuff, I feel like that kind of proves it feels like that's enough evidence to show you that. And even though people may think, oh, that's just a medical thing, that's not demons or nothing, I feel like it is some real shit people had going on. Like people was like, I don't know if it was mentally ill, but when it comes to exorcism, it really shows you there's enough evidence that God exists.
So this is actually a really good topic. One of my best friends, he believed for a long time that exorcisms were proof of God. I don't think they are, and here's why. Exorcisms and spirits, these types of I'm not sure what we call them. These types of processes, they only ever occur to people that live in cultures that believe it's possible. There's never been an atheist who was possessed by a demon. It's only people who believe in demons already, which would lead me to believe that it's in fact something that's happening mentally. Plus, we don't have any recorded evidence. We've had stories, but no actual evidence of the spirit being able to do something really truly unhuman, like levitating. Listen, I agree. If there was a girl that ended up in the hospital because she was demon possessed and she was levitating over her bed, and the doctors were writing in their notes holy fucking shit, the girl was levitating in her bed over here. Fuck, I'd be a believer. I'd be calling some people tomorrow, I'm gonna get fucking rebaptized, right? But unfortunately, that kind of stuff doesn't happen. It's mostly, nonsense storytelling.
I mean, not only it just happened to Christians. I just feel like the reason why it don't happen to atheists because it just didn't happen to them. I'm just saying that doesn't mean it can't happen. It just don't happen to them as much as Christians. But I'm just saying it can't happen to anyone.
No, it only happens to people who already believe in it. The same reason, so for example, things about I assume you're Catholic, but have you ever been to a Protestant church where people are speaking in tongues and falling on the floor and that kind of stuff?
No, I haven't. No.
Okay. So I've been to a lot of churches that are really into the charismatic stuff and speaking in tongues. What we've discovered about a lot of these people is one of two things are true. They're typically people who believe in speaking in tongues are the only people who ever speak in tongues. I've never heard of a Catholic who has never spoken tongues before, never even heard of it, doesn't believe in it, and then one day started speaking in tongues. it only happens to people that already believe it could happen. And the same is true for demon possession. It only happens to people who already believe that it's a possibility. It's kind of a form of hypnotism. Hypnotism is just persuasion. If you're persuaded that something is possible, then there's always a possibility that you'll be persuaded that it's actually happening to you.
So it's just like if you believe something can happen, it's going to happen?
No. If you believe something could happen to you, then it's more likely that you'll believe it happened to you. When I was in my senior year of high school, we brought in it wasn't actually at a high school, it was at a college. I was taking engineering classes at a local college. We brought in at the college a hypnotist, and it was interesting. Very sane, normal people got on stage and were like barking like dogs and doing all kinds of crazy shit under the guise of hypnotism. But hypnotism isn't really a thing. Like, hypnotism is really just whether or not the power of suggestion will cause you to do things. And the answer is, yeah, people will do things under the power of suggestion as long as they believe that it's possible.
So if you saw a person that was possessed and you saw the person climbing up the walls, would you become a believer?
I told you, yeah. If it does something non-human, yes, I would be a believer. Like, I don't know if I would believe in a god. I would believe in demon possession. Like, if I saw a human being under demon possession with no tools, just randomly climb up on walls and ceilings, and well, fuck, there you go. Looks like he's demon possessed.
So so for example, do you believe that if you believe in something and manifest it, will it happen?
I'm not sure I understand your question. Say it again.
If I believe in something and I manifest that thing, whatever it is I believe in, if I manifest it in a way, you think it's going to happen?
No, I don't believe in manifesting.
Why not? What is manifesting to you?
Manifesting is like name it and claim it, think it and it will be true, but that's just not how things work. If manifesting was real, then we wouldn't have people addicted to drugs.
Okay. Well, that's all I wanted to say. Thanks, though.
Okay. Fair enough. Hey, thanks for being kind. You know, a lot of Christians come up here and they're just kind of assholes, but you're pretty nice.
Yeah, I'll come back on here whenever, if I have any questions.
All right. Cheers, man.
Yep.
Interesting. Wonder maybe we can pry them away from that faith. I remember asking a lot of the same questions when I was younger too. I think they're valid questions. You know. Hey Randy, thank you for sending out 20 Deconstruction Zone gifted memberships. I really appreciate that, friend. That's huge. Big W. Also, we had that guest that was crying to get in left. I don't know why. So I'm going to grab just a couple super chats and we'll see if we get a guest load up. Now's a good time to do it. We're not streaming late tonight. We're not doing a late night stream tonight. So if you want to get in, now's a good time to get in. Matthew, there's in the picture a Chihuahua who is perfectly masculine and a chi mixed and angel. Thanks for asking. Oh, that's adorable. Okay. Big W. Most Chihuahuas, yeah. They do compensate in their size with their bark, I guess we would say. Good question. Says Big W Justin, perfect stupidity was not masculine. Rock hard like duck. Absolutely the case. Yeah, if someone comes in here and their name is anything to do with masculinity, I just assume that they're coping before they even got here. And Rational Atheist says, haven't heard you reference it, but what are your thoughts on Dr. Josh Bowen's Atheist Guide to the Old Testament? Recommend, of course. Dr. Josh Bowen is brilliant. I definitely recommend. And volume 2, I think, dropped already. I have to double check on that. I've got volume 1, and I've got his book on slavery. I recommend getting both books. There's no reason not to get both books. He's brilliant. Absolutely get them. And Octohunt says, hey, Justin, wondering when your next Q&A will be. Love your work. Keep barbecuing these raw prawns. Good question. I actually think I might do one tomorrow. So I'm on tomorrow night on the line with Sarah. But since I'm not going late tonight and I'm going to have a pocket of time tomorrow, I might do a Q&A tomorrow during the daytime. But I won't be doing one Sunday. Sunday, I'm going to be on AXP. So I'll be doing that instead. So probably Saturday. I think we're going to be doing a daytime Q&A, which would be good. Sexy Uncle Dave also has just about to say, Uncle Dave is the guy who sent me this shirt. Thanks, Uncle Dave. And also the Alf for my shelf says, Justin, I'm the dude who sent the shirt you're wearing. I know that, buddy. Thank you so much. And your vintage Alf rainbow frogs. By the way, I love that hoodie too, by the way. I run Neon Grizzly. Highly big thanks going out to you. Would you ever be down to a Deconstruction Zone merch drop? I can email you if so. Oh yeah, you know what? I'm more than happy to send you some DZ merch. Send me an email, Sexy Uncle Dave, and I'll absolutely send you some merch. My merch setup is a little bit different than yours, but I'm more than happy to send you some DZ merch. I don't know why I didn't think of it sooner. Great idea though. And by the way, this is a crazy comfortable hoodie. Guys, check out Neon Grizzly. This is it's one of the like spring fall hoodies. It's not super thick. It's just right thickness to like just keep the breeze off of you. It's super fucking comfortable. And JH says, did you see Wilson preaching at the Pentagon church service? Wait, who? Wilson who? He wants blasphemy laws, no fucking way, instituted and only household men. Oh, that guy. Secretary of Defense goes to his church. I know who you talk about now. I forgot his last name was. Yeah. He's fucking crazy. He's crazy. I agree. This is what we're up against, y'all. It's not just that we're up against religious people. It's that we're up against religious zealots that want Christofascism. That's what's happening right now. This is Christofascism we're fighting against. All right, let's get a time traveler in here. This is interesting. Also, I forgot to turn on my virtual camera. There we go. So the YouTube guests can see me. Let's get the guest in here though. How you doing, time traveler? Time traveler? Hello? Let me make sure you. Oh, sorry. That's on me. Let me turn my audio on for you. Now you should be able to hear me, time traveler. How you doing? Time traveler? Do you have your earbuds turned on? Let me check your audio settings. Maybe. Yeah, I got a good connection, time traveler. So I know your connection's not preventing you from connecting. You might have to refresh your browser. Hopefully that's not a problem for you. But it looks like your connection should be good because you're loaded up on the screen. I don't know why. I can hear you now. Yeah.
I see. How you doing, my friend?
Not too bad. How you doing?
Yeah, not bad at all. I was going to say, what's your beliefs right now? What do you sort of believe?
Well, I'm an atheist. What's your belief?
Oh, so I'm Muslim. I saw a couple Muslims in the chat, so I thought I'd hop on call. Why are you an atheist?
Why am I an atheist? I'm an atheist because there's no evidence for a God existing.
Have you looked into Islam at all?
Yeah, it's a terrible religion that doesn't treat women well and is just as silly as the Christian religion.
Okay, what makes you say that?
Which part?
So, did you know that in the time Islam was revealed, they'd actually bury the daughters all alive every time they were born, and Islam actually gave women's rights. And even the first university that was made in in Morocco, was actually founded by a Muslim. A Muslim woman, in fact.
It's weird it's weird that they backslid because now in predominantly Muslim countries, like they're preventing from driving, they're marrying 9-year-olds, they're beating them with rods. This is pretty stark regression,
that's not the mainstream. That's not Islam. That's not Islam at all.
That's right. So the predominant Islam countries just don't understand it. Like when Iraq said that you can marry 9-year-olds, they just got it wrong.
No, that's not. It's permissible. In Islam, it's about the age of maturity, and that varies from region to region. Even in America, you have some states that say 12, 15, 16. It varies, right? That's just the standard that Islam has given.
So is it okay to marry a 9-year-old as long as she's got, mammaries and whatnot?
Of course not. No, nowadays it's completely different. Back then, people they matured a lot earlier, they died a lot earlier, and it was very different.
Well, that's not true at all, actually. In fact, if you read the hadiths, it doesn't say that they're matured earlier. It says the exact opposite.
That's not true at all. You're only allowed to marry someone if they're maturely ready, emotionally and physically.
Actually, that's not true either. How you doing, Ems? So, show me the verse in the Quran where
Can
it
you hear
says that.
me?
Yeah, I can
Hello.
hear you now. Show us the verse in the Quran
How
where
are you
it says
doing,
that.
Justin?
You know, I couldn't be better. How you doing, buddy?
Mhm.
So
I'm
this guy
doing
here
good.
is
How are you?
telling lies on the Quran. He's saying that in the Quran
So he's a
it
Muslim.
says, yeah, I know. It says that the Bible, or sorry, that the Quran says you have to be physically mature before you can marry them.
Sure,
I
he
want to see
made
that
verse up.
verse. Yeah, I want to see it.
You can literally Google that.
No, you Google it. It's your job.
Sure, go ahead and Google it.
I'm just curious why you're atheist. That's literally it.
I already
You
told
haven't
you.
given me a reason
Why
to
would
be
he?
atheist.
Why would he subscribe to a religion that has shown itself to be very abhorrent and also has shown itself to contradict what we do experience in real life and in, for example, in science?
How does it contradict?
Could you first answer his question before you run away? And then
No, I'm
we
not
can get
running
there.
away. Tell me how it contradicts. How does it
I
contradict
will get
science?
there. I will get there. Just answer his question first. Because he's the host, you have to respect him.
What's his question? He's asking me to Google something, but he can just Google that on stream as
Yeah,
well.
I'm just waiting for the verse that says that you
Do you
have
think
to
that-
wait for a girl to be physically mature before you can marry her, because I know a verse in the Quran that says the opposite.
Go on.
Because again, guest. The point is, this is not the first time or the 10th time or the 100th time the host has done this. You're not going to bring anything new. So again, he's asking you to Google it because we've done the Googling and it doesn't exist.
Yeah, to be
I
sure,
disagree, and I urge the
to be
viewers to
sure,
check it out. as well.
it's a rhetorical question. I'm asking you to do it because I know it doesn't exist. Exactly what M says. So I'll wait. If you need to like Google it, I've got time. Go ahead and Google it.
Okay.
And he's going to come back with the exact verse we know.
I know he is. M's good to hear from you, buddy.
Good to hear from you too. It's been a while.
I know. You know what? We had a wild time this week with this
By the way,
this topic.
could you add? I was gonna ask you to add like a small little Ramadan Kareem thing posted on the screen.
Oh shit!
But it's Ramadan if you didn't know.
I saw that on my calendar actually. Yeah, because I've got on my calendar there's like a selection for like all the holidays.
Yeah.
Which includes the other religions. So now I can finally see like the Jewish holidays, Christian holidays, Muslim holidays.
You know what's funny? Ramadan is supposed to be like the month in which, like you fast to feel the pain of like poor people who cannot eat. The problem is Muslims gain weight in Ramadan.
That's a culture problem, would you not say?
How?
Because they instead of
Is it
like
history?
instead
Yeah, but
of
that's the culture
like
problem.
taking it,
'Cause they
could you let me
eat
speak to the
oily
host,
foods,
please?
no?
Sure. It is not about oily food. It is about them feasting. Like when it's finally time to eat, they feast. They literally just feast for the entire month. They have like literal royal feasts together.
That's crazy.
That's a cultural problem. That's not what's encouraged in Islam.
It is not a
You're
culture. It is
confusing
not.
culture
Oh,
and
really? Wait. This is not encouraged in Islam. Could you show me where it's discouraged? Go ahead.
sorry.
Could you show me where it is discouraged? Go ahead.
Look into the tafsir of verse Surah Nisa, verse 4. Look into the tafsir.
Verse
It
4.
says, Allah commands that the property of the orphans be surrendered until they reach the age of
Hey, you're reading,
adolescence.
Habibi. You're reading the wrong verse. It is 4:6.
Okay, but I'm getting the context before that. Just talking about the orphans.
Now this is talking about inheritance, and it has nothing to do with marriage. Marriage is not mentioned in the verse.
You know, if you go down on that tafsir, it says prohibition of marrying female orphans without giving a dowry. And then
Without giving a dowry. So you can marry them if you give them a dowry.
no, you need to
And we
read
have
the
a
entire
hadith
thing.
that explains. I have, and we have a hadith that explains. I've read the entire book hundreds of times. You have a hadith that also explains 4:3 by Aisha that says that 4:3 was revealed because of the fact that men used to marry orphans, prepubescent girls who are orphans, without giving them their just dowry, thinking that they can cheap out on the dowry because they have nobody to speak for them.
Mhm.
So this is, again, you literally just read it yourself. You said that it prohibits marrying orphans without giving them a dowry. So you can marry orphans. An orphan is defined as a prepubescent girl. So again,
Also, oh hold on, where is there an echo happening right now? Anyone hear the echo? Or is it just me? got to be Traveler. I reset his audio. Oh, what the fuck's going on with Traveler's audio? Hold on a second. Let me mute Traveler, see if it goes away. Yeah, it's something. Traveler, I don't know what happened to your audio, but your audio is really doing something weird.
I'm not sure. It seems fine on my end.
It's weird. Just do me a favor. I'm gonna change your audio to your headpiece.
I'm not actually wearing a headpiece.
Yeah,
it's just my phone.
Well, it says you've got one connected.
Okay.
Maybe you should disconnect it, actually. There you go. Now it's better. Okay. So the verse on the screen says, "As for your women past the age of menstruation," this is the waiting period for divorce. I'm sure you're familiar with it. It says, "As for your women past the age of menstruation, in case you do not know, their waiting period is 3 months, and those who have not menstruated as well. As for those who are pregnant, their waiting period ends with delivery, and whoever is mindful of Allah, so on and so forth." So girls who haven't menstruated yet have a waiting period if you want to divorce them. And we know from the hadith that if you haven't touched a woman, there is no waiting period. So that means these prepubescent girls would have been touched.
But it literally says they're the age of menstruation.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You have a reading comprehension problem then. Like, could you read it out loud and tell us what it means? Like, just read each section and then stop and then say, this means so-and-so, because I think you have a reading comprehension problem.
Look, I'm not an expert, but I'm just saying, like, the mainstream.
This is basic. This is a basic language. Like, this is a basic sentence structure. It says, those past the age of menstruation, then so-and-so. And as well as those who have not menstruated as well.
Okay, fine. Listen,
basic language.
I'm saying,
this is
from ask any Muslim imam, none of them would say you're allowed to marry someone below the age of puberty.
No, they do. They literally all the time do.
And obviously puberty varies from person to person.
They do. I've had imams validate child marriages in my family.
Sorry?
I've had imams be ma'zoons for child marriages in my family. So no, you're a liar.
I'm not lying. It's not correct. Ask anybody.
It is. I have asked all of the
scholars
of the classical time, except Ibn Shubruma, and Al-Bukhari responds to Ibn Shubruma. But all of the classical scholars agree you can marry at any age without discrimination. And again, I've had imams in modern day validate marriages of children in my family.
Yeah, it's legal in Iran to marry 13-year-olds. It's legal in Iraq to marry 9-year-olds. In Yemen, there is no minimum age. In Saudi Arabia, in Saudi Arabia, they finally updated. It says 18, but I also know that like 20% of marriages in Saudi Arabia are under 18. It's a really high number. So like,
my main point is
you're just making stuff up.
It doesn't promote.
In Saudi Arabia, you cannot do it. It does promote child marriage. That is number one. Number two, in Saudi Arabia, you're not allowed to unless you have the judge's permission.
Right. So what are we doing with this Quran passage where it says women, girls that don't menstruate still have a waiting period? And I'm sure. Oh, wait, where'd he go? I see that your audio's moving, but no, I can't hear you.
Still here.
I think, buddy, I think you got to refresh your browser. I think your connection's messed up, man. Because now you're not even on the screen.
And there's an echo. But there's a
my
squeaky
Wi-Fi
echo.
isn't great.
Yeah, time traveler, refresh your browser. Something's wrong with your connection over there. It's not holding up for you.
How far along are you in the Quran now?
You know, I'm in chapter 5. I kind of took a pause in January, but I'm hoping to get back to it this month because I really want to do. I really want to get proficient, and I've been tabbing it. So I've got. Be careful, honey. Don't fall. I'm keeping tabs of different varieties for different subjects. So it's been interesting. I'm hoping to eventually know it pretty well, but obviously it took me a lifetime to know the Bible as well as I do. I don't expect to know the Quran like
the Quran is not. It is not. By the way, just I say this all the time, but I do not know the Quran well. In comparison to people who come up, I seem like I do, but I do not. That is number one. Like, I'm nowhere near your knowledge in the Bible. Like, not even close. But the Quran is not complex at all. Like, if you filter out all of the threats and all of the mentions of fire and everything, it will probably come out to like 20 pages. So,
It's so repetitive. That's the thing so far that just
it's a
every
miracle.
time.
It's a literature miracle. A
I know,
literary
you know-
miracle. Don't forget.
Did you ever watch back in the day the debate between Muhammad Hijab and Cosmic Skeptic? Like back when he was still in school?
Oh, the terrorist. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. One of his last and final arguments was like, nobody can produce a book like it. It's so amazing. And but now I'm reading it, I'm like, what a horrible, just cobbled together text. Like this is not well written. It's not connected in any way. The narratives are almost non-existent and unable to follow. And it's so fucking repetitive. Like why do you have to say that same thing
there's-
10 different times?
There is one chapter in which it repeats the same word like 10 times in like 2 sentences. Like,
That's
قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الناس
That's why
من شر
that's why
الوسواس
so many
الخناس
people
الذي يوسوس في
memorized
صدور
it.
الناس من الجنة والناس. It's literally just like 2 sentences. I messed that up. Now they're gonna say I'm a fake Muslim. Anyways.
It's
but
easy to
anyways, these 2
memorize when it
sentences
says the
repeat
same thing 10 times, right?
And it rhymes all the time. Did he come back?
He didn't come back. I don't think he's going to come back.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, oh well. Well, I guess let me grab the next guest. We'll grab Conductor and then Blackwell
I'm
after
gonna be
that.
dropping because I have some stuff to do. But if you need me, just
enough.
have them send me an invite. But
Hey,
thank you
thanks,
for
man. I
having me up.
appreciate it.
Just-
Good to hear from you, buddy.
Thank you.
WMs. What a fucking legend. Just legend. Like in the debate space, I just don't know if anyone holds a candle to M's. Very good wizard. Hey, thanks for the super chat. Says this is because Christian Adam 2907 said to stop tipping. Sorry, Christian Adam. Us heathens won't stop tipping, and we are in fact going to keep tipping while we destroy your god. I'm going to grab 3 chats and then get Conductor in here. Herbie, good to see you tonight, my friend. Thank you for the 10 pounds. Says sugar is my addiction. I get it. I was a chef for a long time and worked patisserie a lot. Me and food have a tricky relationship over the years. I feel unable to beat it now, but do the best I can. It's hard. If I would say the only thing I've ever felt like I've had an addiction to, it's sugar. And for me, the only thing that fixes it, and I mean the only thing, is straight fucking cold turkey. Nothing with sugar at all, ever. The minute I start having sugar again, my body's like, we need more of that shit. But you know, I would say my draw to sugar might not be as hard as some. It's hard. It's a hard thing to overcome. I think all humans kind of struggle with this. Still attacks a bit. Good to see you, my friend. Thank you for the 10 Canuck bucks. Is just imagine what the book written by the actual creator of the universe would be like. It would be awesome, mysterious, educational. Nothing like this POS Bible. I agree. If a real God actually like authored or had a book written, it would have been pretty fucking awesome. It would have been really cool. Maybe on real golden tablets. Hey, Sonus, thank you for the 666. Hail Nero says, sorry for the weird question, but it's 420 in Argentina. Hell yeah, I didn't check. Or sorry, don't check. Would you spend one genie's wish in deconstructing everybody? Oh. Yeah. Yep. I would. You can blanket that one too and say, for my wish, I would say all human beings would only ever believe things that are objectively true. I think that would pretty much clear it up. It'd be interesting to see what would happen. The world would probably fall apart pretty quick if it happened at like a snap of a finger, you know what I mean? Rather than progressively. But it'd be fun. Well, I think a lot of relationships would end pretty fucking quick. How you doing, Conductor?
Good. You?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Conductor, are you at least 18 and do you believe in the Abrahamic God?
Yes, and I am a Christian.
Awesome. And do you agree or disagree with the prompt?
I disagree, and I would want you to prove it.
Oh, that's not hard at all. So the first part's pretty simple. It's almost trivial, which is that if you just search the Epstein files for God, he shows up 22,000 times. The second part is proven via the Bible by simply reading it. So we can do that really easy just by opening the Bible and showing it to you. So in the Bible, God condones SA on quite a few occasions. Here's an occasion, in fact, where he says he's causing it. So in 2 Samuel, you're probably familiar with David and Bathsheba, right?
Yes, I'm familiar with that verse, but I'm
Sure.
not
So
talking
in,
about scripture
in
currently.
I am.
I'm
So
asking for
in
the
the
initial
story of
claim.
David and Bathsheba, do you remember what the punishment was for what David did?
Yes, it was for adultery and murder.
Right, yeah, but what was the punishment? What did God say he's going to do to David?
He was going to kill the newborn child.
Yep, that was one of them. That's the second punishment. The first punishment is what we're about to read right now. It says, "Thus saith the Lord, I will raise up trouble against you from within your own house, and I will take your wives before your eyes and give them to your neighbor, and he shall lie with your wives in broad daylight. For you did it secretly, but I will do this thing before all Israel in broad daylight," which is what happens. God raises up an adversary from within his own household. That's Absalom. Absalom runs a coup against his father, trying to take over the palace. And then, in a display of force, when he feels like he's gotten victory over his father, he decides to take 10 of David's wives and sleep with them on top of the palace in a display of force over his father, declaring that now he's in charge. So, God had 10 of David's wives raped as a punishment to David.
Okay, so back to the initial claim.
Yeah.
In what sense does this prove that God is in the Epstein files? Because you said he
It's
is
weird that
mentioned over
you weren't listening.
22,000 times.
Did you not understand when I said if you look for the word God in the Epstein files, it shows up 22,000 times?
Well, yes, the word God,
Yeah, there you go.
but
We
that
got
does
it.
not
So
automatically,
that's
but
why I
that does not
said that
automatically
the
prove.
first claim is trivially true. There's 22,000 references to God in the Epstein files. That's why this is a two-part claim. The first part is fun. It's a fucking joke. The second part is what's actually happening right now, which is I'm showing to you that the God of the Bible condones behavior that is similar to Epstein's behaviors, namely, in this particular case, sexual assault. It seems like you want to get hung up on the first part rather than address the meat of the issue, which is that God decided to have women raped.
Well, it's because I'm not focusing on the aspect of scripture. I'm focusing on the first part of your
Yeah,
claim.
because you're terrified to actually address the actual meat and potatoes of the discussion here, which is that God condones sexual assault. Do you want to address that?
Not necessarily. Well,
Oh,
I
well,
recognize the moral ambiguity of these.
then I guess you're in the wrong fucking place then, because that's what we're doing tonight. Crazy that these people can't figure it out. Let's put some notes down for conductor runs from the Bible. Okay. Easy enough. That didn't take very long. Let's see. I'll just write turn into a short. We'll do like a Facebook short for that one. That's not very long. Okay. Hey, Blackwell came back. So we're gonna have round 2 with our friend Blackwell. Welcome back, Blackwell.
Hey, Justin. I'm doing good. Thanks for having me back.
Hey, welcome
Just for your
back.
audience here, I do believe in the Abrahamic God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I know him as Yahuwah.
No, stop it. You're
So
joking,
to your
right?
claim, Justin,
Please tell me you're
here,
joking.
Justin, so God, G-O-D, in the
I
Epstein files,
I
I would
wasn't
agree that God is
I
in
wasn't
there.
actually joking. You don't actually say Yahuwah, do you?
Well, if we're going to be real, I think we would have to drop all vowels and just stick with YHWH if we're going to be most accurate. But we could also, I don't know if you want to discuss that here.
No, I just want to make sure you're fucking around right now. You don't actually say Yahuwah, right?
I would pronounce it a little slightly different, but yeah. Justin, when you have a relationship with the Father, it's
Guy
totally different.
did
I'm
not
here to
go to
have a
seminary.
conversation.
He did not go to seminary. Okay, so let's address the topic. This is round 2 on this topic. Did we get around to reading Exodus 21 last time?
Actually, I want to jump in right into the verse if you want, about David's wives. But before we do that, Justin, let's
Yeah.
quickly just address God in the Epstein files because I thought this was funny. Is God is actually referring in the English language, if we're going to be real, Allah. So are we saying that Allah is in the Epstein files?
God is English, Allah is Arabic.
Yeah, so if we're being
So
very particular about the translation,
so I
right?
think my
God, it
claim
goes
is
to
pretty
Allah,
clear, is
would
that
never
the
translate.
word God is in the Epstein files. It's not difficult.
Yeah, I agree with you, Justin, here. I'm saying that God is in the Epstein files, but that's not the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's the God of Allah.
God's a title, bro. Try to figure it out. There's no fucking way you went to seminary and you think that God is the name of God. It's crazy. God is a title.
Yo, Justin, it is crazy because once you have a relationship with the Father, all of
Yeah,
the
that's what it
text just
is.
becomes religion, man.
Yeah, I'm sure it
So,
does. Yeah, the text becomes nonsense. Yeah.
but
So
for the Christians on the
so
line,
my
all of the Word of God is
my
true, right? So Matthew 5, we
my
don't
claim
say,
is pretty clear, which is that God is in the Epstein's file. God is in the Epstein files, and so there you go.
yeah, I agree with you. God is in the Epstein files.
That's my
And
claim.
let's jump to the verse with Samuel and
Also,
his
so
wives.
is just to be clear, so is fucking Yahweh
You
and Jesus.
don't have a relationship with him, so you can call him whatever you want.
Yeah, it turns out I do have the internet though, and Yahweh is in the Epstein files.
Justin, if you had a wife and your
just to be
wife was
clear,
telling you that she
crazy.
wants you to pronounce her name this way, and then you have some random Joe Blow online saying,
Yeah,
"That's not how you pronounce your
that's
wife's
what,
name."
yeah, you are the one Christian that is hearing from God, and all the other Christians that heard from God are wrong. But
I
yeah,
think
you're the
Christianity,
guy.
Justin, who
You're the
says
guy that
I'm
hears directly from God. You're God's modern day prophet. Love to hear it. Do us a favor. Have God speak to you right now and prophesy something for us.
Well, I want to first clarify.
So you're not going to do it. Just
Christians.
checking.
Well, Justin, you're educated enough. We're just a more of a conduit for him to speak through us, for the light to come through. So it's not who am I as a human to be like, God,
Yeah.
come down and do this.
The fucking irony about being called Blackwell and being the conduit of light is wild. But let's address David, since you wanted to address David.
Yeah. Okay. So we're reading a scriptural, spiritual book. Actually, before we do this, I want to correct yourself here. You keep calling me a Christian. Christians don't believe in the word of God. They believe that Jesus has fulfilled it and that the law of God is no longer in stand, but it is actually in place.
So that's not what all Christians believe. A Christian is literally just somebody who believes in Jesus as the Christ. That's it. There's a lot of different varieties of Christian. You're obviously one variety of them. I don't care if you don't like the moniker Christian. You are one. I'll continue to call you a Christian. So you want to address the text?
Okay. Well, I identify myself as a follower of Yeshua. You can call me what you want, but I'm not identifying with that. Okay. So let's go into this text here. So here we're seeing that it goes into, oh, I guess you have a different translation, but mine says go into the bosom. Would you agree with that? Like, what translation are you using here? Because these
I'm
are
in
all different.
the NRSV, and I don't think it matters whether it says bosom or not.
Okay. Well, great. Fine. I'm going to use the word bosom because that's the verse that I have in front of me here, and your screen's a little small. So when it's referring to the bosom and how he did it publicly, right? You see how he's doing it publicly in broad daylight. So this is actually referring to transfer of the kingdomship. This is embarrassing to David. Or
I
sorry.
know. I'm
Yeah,
aware.
yeah. Yeah, so this is about David's punishment for transgressing the law of God. And this is what is transpiring, right? We see that, before you and I were talking about God causing this, like it says, thus says Yahuwah, I will raise trouble up against you from within your own house, and I will take your wives before your eyes. So you were saying when the creator himself
Oh,
is
hold
saying,
on.
I will take my
Hold
eye.
on. Just stop for a second. My screen decided to go dark for a second. I think we're back. Sorry about that, y'all. I don't know what happened. My just randomly 2 of my screens went dark. I think we're back at it.
Sorry, I shouldn't use his name in such a setting like this. It does have effect. His name is
Yeah,
not.
it makes us laugh. I know. Yeah, it does have that effect. So again, I'm trying to figure out how you're squaring this passage with the sexual assault, because that's really what we're reading this for. So God says that He's raising up the trouble,
Yep, he
and
does say that.
He knows what the trouble is going to do, doesn't He?
Yep, he's all knowing. Yep.
Okay, so what that means is that God specifically is the cause of what happens to the wives, because He's using it as a punishment, which means God, who has infinite number of resources, who could punish David any way he wanted, decided that the punishment he's going to use is to bring a sword against his house and his son's penis against his wives.
Well, he is describing the judgment that is going to take place. I guess it kind of comes back, Justin, to the character of God, right? God is light. Let's use
It
the scripture to
does.
interpret scripture. God is
It
light, and
does
in
come
him is
back
no
to the
darkness.
character of God. Yeah.
Well,
God's
Justin, the
character is
reason
that
why
he
I bring up
sexually
the
assaults
character of
women.
God is because the character of God, we have to understand that he is beyond an individual like you and I. He is outside.
He might be beyond
outside
you.
of.
He's not beyond me. He doesn't exist for me.
Okay. So he's if there was a God, and if a God did exist, he would have to meet the definition of outside space, time, and matter. So understanding the
wouldn't.
characteristic of God, we would understand that when God is saying, I will cause something or I will do something, we have to take it through the frame or understanding that of who
No,
God is.
we don't actually. So again, we had this conversation last time you were here, which is when God says in the Bible that He's doing something, it just means that He's doing it. You can cope as much as you want and say, no, God's not really doing it. Well,
I never
that's
said that, Justin. I was saying,
anthropomorphism. You can cope all you want, but when God chooses a punishment and God says, I'm causing it to happen, it just means God's causing it to happen. That's it. Also, Dalton, welcome in, buddy. But your mic is really, really hot right now, and I think
Oh, here, is that better?
Yeah, if a pin dropped in your room, I think we'd be able to hear it. Yeah,
Here, is that better?
yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, yeah.
I thought we were talking about kung fu. That's why I came in, because I kept hearing someone yell Yahuwah.
Yeah, I know.
But
Right?
there's nothing in the Bible that says God's outside of space and time. So I don't know why you
No.
believe that, guest.
well,
Certainly
let's go
not the
to
case.
Genesis. Or who is this? Why
Oh,
is the third person coming in? Am
well,
I still on?
he's a really good friend of mine, but Genesis is
I'm
not
the
going to
Holy
help you.
I'm the Holy
Well, in the
Spirit, bud.
beginning, God created the
I'm here
heavens
to
and the
help
earth
you
and the
out.
sea. Pardon me?
He's here to help you.
I'm the Holy Spirit, but I'm here to help you out. The Bible doesn't say that God's outside of space and time. Don't say something silly.
I don't know what this is. Are you, Justin, are you trying to bring in a second person here
Uh,
to
you
this
must be
conversation? Can we
new
go to the
ar-
text here?
you must be new
Samuel
around here.
chapter
So
16.
I've got a couple friends that drop in and out when they're available. Dalton's a really good friend of mine. He's dropping in tonight, and that's fine. So we're in Genesis. I'm more than happy to read Genesis with you.
Welcome to the conversation, Dalton. Okay. Are we talking about sexual assault? Or are we going back to whether
Well,
God
see,
exists?
I thought we were talking about sexual assault, and then you started
Same
talking
here.
about Genesis.
Well, Dalton came into the conversation and is talking about how God
Fa-
is not. We
Fair
can't
enough.
even
Well,
align on
fair
who
enough.
God is.
Fair enough. We'll
How
we'll
can we debate?
table Genesis for now until it becomes pertinent. So, tell me again how it's okay, like that God had women sexually assaulted. You do agree that these women were sexually assaulted, right? Seems pretty
I think you're
obvious.
adding something that wasn't in there. It says when he
Oh,
goes into his
hmm
bosom. Can you just let me finish? So when you look at the word bosom in the
where?
original
Which word?
language,
Which word is bosom?
can we go to the? Can you just use maybe I don't know? Let's use King James because I don't know what translation you're using. I see you translation
What
to
about the
your
original
audience. You
Hebrew?
use a different translation for your purposes.
I use one translation always. I always use the New Revised Standard Version, Updated Edition. I've used it since the day I started streaming. I've never once switched to another version. So don't try to lie on me on my live stream. So which word in here do you think is bosom? This is the KJV overlaid with the Hebrew.
Okay, so can we just focus on the word that is referring to rape? You're the one who's calling rape, so let's look at the word.
I think it's
By
pretty
the way,
easy.
by
To
the
be
way,
clear,
Justin, you have it.
Mhm.
You have it set up to where there's like your screen is really tiny and my screen's really tiny also,
Wait, what?
so no one can see your screen proper.
What do you mean no one can see my screen?
Wait,
It's very
or is it
blurry.
just me?
No, I can't see it either.
Well, you're on YouTube. He's on TikTok.
For all the other people on TikTok, is Justin's? It's like the panel mode. Okay, maybe it's just me. Maybe I need to. I've heard of this keep happening. I'll come in and go out and hopefully
Oh,
that'll
that's a
fix
weird
it, 'cause
glitch. Interesting. Yeah, I never do the panel
it's happened
mode.
before on my live too. So I'll be back.
TikTok's always full of glitches.
Okay, I
Yeah.
guess while you're pulling this
So the
up,
problem that
Justin,
you're
I'll
going to
just say this
have
one.
is that there's no word in Hebrew for rape. There's about a dozen ways that they describe rape, but there's no word rape in Hebrew. So what you're doing is stupid. So if you actually
You're
read
the one
chapter
saying rape.
16,
It says
if
go
you
into.
actually
Maybe we
read
should-
if you actually read chapter 16, you would know that Absalom storms the palace. What's he do when he storms the palace?
I don't recall the text. I don't have it right in front of me.
In chapter 16, he takes the advice of Ahithophel as to what to do to show his dominance after he storms the palace and chases his dad out. That's why it says, Absalom said to Ahithophel, give us your counsel, what shall we do? So he's like, we're here, what the fuck do I do now to establish my dominance? Ahithophel said, go into your father's concubines, the one that he left to look after the house, and Israel will hear that you have made yourself odious to your father, and the hands of all who are with you will be strengthened. So they pitched a tent for Absalom upon the roof, and Absalom went into his father's concubines in the sight of all of Israel. So
There we
this
go.
is
Go into.
so this is a display of force. I'm sorry, just to be clear, do you think these children, just to be clear, Absalom is a child. These are all stepmothers. Do you think that these stepmothers of Absalom willingly consented to being slept with in front of all Israel, knowing that the penalty for this was death?
Well, bro, let's back up. Absalom was a hunk at this time, if we actually follow the timeline. So this guy is like a
Again,
huge hunk.
still
David is
waiting
like
for
some
you to
old
answer the
fart.
question. Do you believe that the wives of David, knowing that the punishment for this is death, are willingly sleeping with their son on top of the fucking palace in the middle of a coup in front of all Israel? You think they're consenting to that? And keep in mind, if you say yes, you're the dumbest person that's going to be on this live stream all night.
Well, okay, so one, I don't think they're consenting to it, but the text
There you
doesn't
go.
add any flavor about that.
Well,
So,
if they didn't
and if we have
consent,
to
then
look at
what
the
that
text,
means is that
Justin,
it's
Justin, if we use
non-consensual
the text,
contact, and everybody
if
knows that
we,
non-consensual contact, that sexual, is some form of sexual assault. Now, I realize that in your
okay, are
head
you
right
gonna allow me to
now,
speak, man,
I
or are
realize
you
that
just
in
gonna
your
talk
head,
over me the same time as
like
last
you're
time?
just, I'm responding to something you said, and what I'm not doing is stopping when you talk while I talk. See, this is the same thing that happened last time. Is you got mad at me for continuing to talk when you tried to
Never got
interrupt
mad,
me,
brother. I'm
and I
happy
didn't
here.
allow you to interrupt me. So, again, everyone knows that what happened here is rape. These women didn't consent to being slept with on top of the palace in front of all Israel. This is quite obvious.
So the text never says rape; it says go into. The same phrase
Again,
is
we
used for
already covered it.
lawful
Tell you what,
relationships and
Blackwell,
public seizure of the throne. We
I'll
can see this in
Venmo you
1 Kings chapter
$100
22,
right
verse
now if you can
22.
find me the word rape in the Bible. Find me the Hebrew word for rape in the Bible.
You just disproved
Find
your own
me,
point. There's
find
no
me
point.
the, find me the word rape in Hebrew in the Bible.
I don't know why that is irrelevant to what
It's because you keep saying that the text doesn't say rape. There
It says
is
go
no
into.
Hebrew word for rape, which means you're never going to find it in the Bible, which means you can't
Exactly.
say it doesn't say rape, therefore it's not rape. That's the dumbest thing you're going to say today.
So
Almost
can
as
you let me
dumb,
finish the
almost as
sentence?
dumb as they consented to this. So again, it's very easy. If they didn't consent to Absalom sleeping with them in front of all Israel, what that
You don't
means
know that.
is that this is sexual assault.
You actually, these women, if they weren't covered by the next king, they would basically be prostitutes on the corner of the gate. They were
They would
probably
not.
jumping for joy that they would be covered by the king. Now,
Imagine,
whether or not he went into them
imagine
actually sexually,
literally
you're adding that.
believing.
It
Imagine
says in
literally
1 Kings
believing.
chapter 2, verse 22, which can give
Imagine
us more.
believing Imagine believing that women were jumping for joy to have sex with their stepchild in front of all Israel. Both of those punishable by death. Both of those fucking crimes are punishable by death. But that's the hill you're gonna die on, right?
No one is saying the women were jumping for joy. I'm
You
trying to
just
balance
did.
you out here, Justin. You are
You just
jumping to the
did. You just
conclusions
said it.
about these women, and I'm saying, hey,
I
look,
didn't
if we
jump to
go over to First
conclusions.
Kings, second,
It's either
22.
true that they consented or they didn't consent, right?
Yeah, but we would, yeah,
There you
exactly.
go.
We would
Okay,
have to
so
use other
if it's a
scripture to understand.
dichotomy, if it's either true that they consented or didn't consent, and then we decide that they did not consent, that means it's sexual assault.
And that would be the death penalty according to Deuteronomy chapter 22.
You got
5
it.
to
If they
26.
consensually had sex with Absalom, they would have been murdered based on the law. And also, the law says that you can't sleep with your stepchild.
Exactly. So either God is contradicting himself, or there's other
Exactly.
scripture
You got
that
it.
maybe sheds more light onto this,
Because
Justin.
because
Can we
rape
jump to the other scripture?
because the rape of the women is a contradiction to God's own nature, because this part of the law code, and this is what you're really not going to like, this part of the law code was actually written after David was already alive. I don't know if you know this. The law code was written after David. But that being said, in your worldview, we have to assume that it was written before David was actually alive. And we have to assume that they operated according to the law. But God, I don't know if you know this, God breaks his law all the time. Like there's always an exception to God's laws, and God's the one that gets to break them. Every time God breaks his own laws, it's because you're going to say God's allowed to do that. Like if I told you, well, it's
No,
not.
it's a universal law. He
If
doesn't
I
break
told
the
you
law. He's
that,
perfect.
if I told you that Jesus contradicted himself, saying that the law is going to go away, which he never actually did say, you probably believe that though. Then you'd say,
No,
well, it's
I do not
okay.
believe that.
It's okay. He can do that because he's God, right? So the
Jesus
only
never
person.
contradicted the. Justin, you said a bunch there. I don't. Jesus lived he was the word of the. He was the word of God,
Okay,
manifested in the flesh.
so you
He
agree with me
lived it
then
perfectly.
that in Matthew 5, Jesus is intimating that you should follow the law forever?
Yes, except for we need to
Oh, we
understand
agree
the
there. Cool.
administration of the law is changed under Jesus. Before it was the high priest and the Levitical priesthood,
Well,
and it was
Jesus didn't say that.
transferred. It's actually called the renewed
So
covenant.
Jesus
For
didn't
both
say
Christians
that.
on
The
the
book of
line, it's
Hebrews says that.
renewed.
Again, the book of Hebrews says that, not Jesus. So what that means then is that the moral precepts of the law should still stand, which means according to Deuteronomy 22, 28, and 29, you can rape an unbetrothed virgin, and the only penalty is that you would have to marry her and not be able to divorce her.
Yo, I'm so glad you brought this up because I didn't challenge you on live stream last time because I was like, you know what? Let me go and double check on the Hebrew. So
Hebrew's not going to help you.
when you bring up the full context of the whole, we got to have the whole Torah in context. You
Not
can't
going to
just
help you.
cherry pick a corner case,
I haven't.
Justin, and then
Unlike
say,
you, I actually went to school. I know the whole case.
Justin, okay, I went to school as well here.
I
Nowhere do I even
find that very
think
doubtful.
that's even important. If you have a relationship with the Father, He's going to enlighten
Yeah,
you in so
yes,
many
the
things.
Father is telling you, he's whispering Hebrew words in your ears.
No, He doesn't work that way.
Hey, remember the story of Amnon and Tamar when Amnon raped Tamar?
Give me the passage. I actually read the names in
I
Hebrew.
asked you, I'm sure you do.
No,
I asked
not
you
familiar.
if you remember the story.
No, I do not remember
Okay,
that story.
so there's an interesting story where Amnon rapes Tamar, and eventually Absalom gets revenge. Absalom ends up getting revenge against Amnon. But what happens is, it says that she has been defiled. She has been diminished. And this is exactly what we find in Deuteronomy 22. The woman in Deuteronomy 22, 28, and 29 has been defiled, or in this translation, it says that she has been, what's the word they're using for? Because violated her.
Hey, Justin, on this, can you just expand it to verse 25 to 29? So your audience can see the whole thing?
I already know the dog shit apologetic. In fact, all of us know this dog shit apologetic. So go ahead and give it to us, and I'll tell you why it's stupid.
I just wanted to give full context.
I
because
love
the
it
verse
when they
before-
assume I've never read the prior verses that also talk about raping women that are already married.
I guess it comes down to, Justin, if you like when you read the Bible. Okay, just pause for a second here because I actually agree with a lot of this stuff that you're saying. But what it comes down to is scripture. Do you believe that scripture interprets scripture, and that condition plus the principle of that scripture doesn't contradict each other? When
No,
you
it's
see
stupid.
scripture through that,
The
here,
Bible
just hear what I'm
contradicts
saying.
itself all the time.
So when you look through scripture through that lens, you have to hold off your pride and not make conclusions until you have evaluated the whole scripture. I had to go through
have.
scripture like
I've
5 times. I had to read
I've
the
read
scriptures
every last word of the Bible multiple times, and I've read a great number of
with
the
eyes to see, though,
of the Old
man.
Testament in the actual Hebrew language. Now, again, you can say all you want about you have these eyes to see. That's a meaningless statement. You obviously
No,
don't have eyes to
I'm
see
talking to you,
because
Justin. I want you to have eyes to see,
you
man.
don't
You're
know how
smart, but
words you don't have words you don't like even know how words work, which is your problem, right? So rather than like having eyes to see, you should just use your brain for 5 seconds and stop trying to pretend like this isn't condoning rape.
Oh, all right. So let's read the text here, right?
Go ahead and
I'm
read
gonna
it.
read you.
I already know the
But if you
apologetic. Just make it go quicker so I can slam dunk on you.
Okay, well, why don't you just quickly jump to what I like? All I'm showing here that it shows
Okay,
is
I'll just
one
give the
is when
apologetic
it's an
for you.
open
You're
country.
going to say in 25 it describes rape using different words, and verse 28 and 29 isn't actually rape because it doesn't use the same exact words that show up in 25 through 27. But as it turns out, the Bible doesn't have to use the same words every time that it describes something. If you knew anything about Semitic languages, they do a great deal of work to not use words repetitiously, which is why often they'll describe the same thing using different
Yeah, that's
words
like
as
the
long as
Quran.
it's within the
Um,
same chapter, which is exactly what we find here. The thing that we find different between 25 through 27 is that in 28 and 29, this is an unbetrothed virgin. And if you seize her and defile her, then your punishment is that you can no longer divorce her and you have to pay the shekels.
that's what is addressing with the woman, and his consequence is death if he has done this. So we have to keep in mind the what is it, Deuteronomy chapter 28, right, and all of those curses. So what I actually didn't want to highlight that about this verse. I wanted to highlight in verse 25 when it says seize there. If someone does a study on that, it's actually convinced. So there's one scenario where a man convinces a woman and it's
Yes,
sexual, and then
seduce.
they lay down together. And then
Seduce.
there's another,
I'm
it
aware.
derives. Yep, and it talks about that scenario, right? And what is that scenario? It says, he has to still pay the dowry, like you said, and he's got to marry her. And if he doesn't, then he bears the consequences. And actually, for the scenario that we call where it's actually a rape in the open field,
Actually,
how we're talking,
in Exodus it's seduce. In Deuteronomy it's not seduce. It means to overpower. So seize is here in verse 25 should be chazak, which means to grow strong, but typically is used to mean overpower somebody.
okay, but that's a stretch here, right? And
No,
if
it's
you
not a
look at it
stretch.
holistically, well, what I'm telling you is it's when the overpower, sure, the overpowering of the flesh. This is a spiritual book, so look at it from a spiritual standpoint. The
The overpowering of
overpowering
flesh,
of the flesh
it's a
has
spiritual
caused these two.
overpowering.
Say again?
This is spiritual overpowering, huh?
No, I'm talking about something that all humans have, which is called lust towards a physical desire, and that
Sure.
is so. Yeah,
But
okay.
what
So
we're
I'm
trying to
just
figure out
describing.
is how is verse 28 and 29 not about rape? Are you going to get to that part, or I think that's what we're all here for.
Well, I am. So I'm what it needs. Remember, scripture is precept upon precept. So
Yeah.
what do we
What does
have?
that
We
even? What
see
the fuck do you think that even means?
that means you're laying a metaphor would be like a stone on top of a stone, right? So meaning when you're trying to interpret
Mm-hmm.
verse 8:28, you got to understand the passages that have been previously laid,
I
because
do.
none of scripture should be contradicting here. So if it's
No,
saying
the
that God
scripture does
is,
contradict.
okay,
To
you
be
are
clear,
making.
nothing in this is a contradiction. I'm saying other parts of scripture contradict other parts of scriptures. There's no contradiction in this part.
I've been with you, Justin, in the sense I looked at across. This is why I went to seminary actually before engineering, because I
I
was like,
disagree.
I don't want to believe in this. Okay, fine. I don't care if you believe it or not. If
Well, you
I
wouldn't
don't
even
want to
tell us
believe in
where you
this
went.
because my parents. or just because I grew up in it. So I started to actually ask these questions. And the truth is, yeah, it does seem like it contradicts each other until you have
Where? Show
grasped
me the
a strong
contradiction.
enough understanding of all of Scripture
Show me the
to interpret
contradiction.
this. Sorry, again?
Stop preaching and just show me the contradiction. No one cares about your spiritual lives or the fact that you went to a seminary in Canada that no one's ever heard of. We want to show the actual meat of the argument. Just get to the fucking argument.
Okay, so precept upon precept. So I'm bringing these verses
I
up
said get to the
because,
argument, not the precept. Get to the argument.
okay, this is a political public seizure of the throne. 1 Kings chapter 2, verse 22. It verifies this.
Wait
And
a
I'm talking
fucking
about the
minute.
raping of his wife.
Are you about to make a metaphor out of Deuteronomy for 2 Samuel?
You said
This
get
ca-
to the point, so
This
I'm getting to the
can't be
point.
fucking. All right, go ahead. I can't wait. This is crazy.
Okay, so the point is actually, if we're looking at this verse, this whole verse I brought up for precept upon precept. The point, though, is that when we understand that passage about the wives of David, it is a public seizure of the throne. It says, go in unto,
I'm aware.
right? And you are attaching that to just the physical realm and making
I
all
was
these
not.
judgments about it. When in fact, it's
I
a
literally did not say
political
that. You weren't even
and
fucking listening, Blackwell. I literally told you, if you were fucking listening and you weren't, that this was a display of force over his father in the middle of a coup. I said that. Those words left my fucking mouth. So the
Yeah.
problem you have is you're concussed. You can't even listen. Everyone knows. There's
What
like
you didn't
3,000
listen to me.
people
What I
watching
just
this
said to you
live stream
aligns with
right
what you
now,
said.
and all of them know that what happened between Absalom and the women isn't just rape for the sake of rape. It's also a seizure of power and a display of force, which is why I said that.
Yeah. And this is and so your argument is you are saying that God is condoning
God caused
this.
it.
And by your definition of when you said God caused, God can cause it directly or indirectly,
He
right?
caused it directly. He said so.
Well, so what? God came in there and made that guy go and have sex with those women? That's
There's
what you're
lots of
saying?
ways God could do it. God could send a lying spirit to Absalom. God could send a malevolent spirit to Absalom. He did the same thing to Saul. God could harden his heart like he did the Canaanites in Judges 11 and also the Pharaoh in Exodus chapter 6 through 11. There's lots of ways that God could cause it to happen. But what we know is that God says he's causing it to happen.
Yeah, God is technically causing everything to happen by your definition there. So
He's
yeah, I agree with you
he's
then.
directly causing this to happen.
Nope. He is simply
Wrong again.
he is prophesizing what
Nope.
has happened. He's
He says, I'm
prophesizing
causing
judgment.
it. The ability for Christians to lie on the text over and over again will never not surprise me. Like
What
when
do you
I was a
mean? Is that
Christian,
not a
I would have
prophecy,
been
Justin?
so fucking ashamed of
You're not
myself
being honest to
to
your
be caught
audience here.
lying over and over and over again. Like your
Nothing I have said
ability,
is a lie. Everything I have said is true.
your ability to call God a liar on his own statement is per fucking prosperous. It literally says that he's causing it. We had this discussion last time you were here. Why did I say to you that God is claiming he's causing it? Do you remember?
God is causing it because your term of cause is the wrong term. I can't. That's all I gotta say, man. Your definition
It
of
wasn't.
cause.
So what I
You don't
told you
understand the
is
character of God.
quite easy. It's because Mekim in Hebrew is in the causative verbal stem. So what that means is that the action is being caused by the subject. So when God says, I will cause to raise up, literally, which is why my translation says, I will make, right? In this one, it says, I will raise up trouble. I'm doing it. I will make the trouble. God's taking claim for it. He's claiming that
I
he's
agree.
causing
God
it.
is
Literally,
taking claim by the yeah.
all you got to do is just and if you went to an actual seminary, which I don't think you fucking did, you would
Why would I lie
understand
about that?
the causal stem in Hebrew. It's not difficult. I learned the causal stem of Hebrew before I got to seminary.
Justin, no one is arguing to you about what the text is saying. I am trying to
Okay, there we
enlighten you
go. So we
about
agree
God's
that
character
no
and
one
how that would
cares
be
about your opinion on
exercised.
God's character. So what we
No,
agree
use
then
the
is
scripture
that
to interpret
in
God's character.
I have. That's why he's a sexual assaulter. So what that
Okay, so
means is that the text literally says God is causing the trouble, isn't he?
The same way, if a room was dark and I walked out
Is
of the room with
is
the only
God
light
is
source,
God causing the
the
trouble?
room
Yes or
would be
no?
dark, and I
This is
caused that room
this
to
is
be
the
dark.
funny part, because like he knows that God's causing it because it's a punishment. See, that's the way punishments work. Like, so
Justin,
for example, if my
am I
son
on
did
mute?
something wrong, no, I'm just ignoring you. So if my son did something
I
wrong
am
and
saying
I
that
was
God
going to
caused
punish him, the punishment was my decision. I'm the one causing the punishment to happen. So when God decides he's going to punish David and then he says, I'm causing it to happen, it just means God's causing it. And the more you try to say, well, God's not really causing it, or God's just
I'm
like,
not
golly
saying that,
gee,
Justin. You're
just
putting
letting
words in
it
my mouth.
happen, it just looks bad for you. It just means that everyone knows that you're a liar.
So when you understand how God caused it, how do you think God caused it, Justin?
Well, that's the cool thing. You don't have to know, because God gives you a couple different methods of causation, and sometimes he tells you how he causes it. Sometimes he doesn't. In this particular
Well,
case, he
if you
doesn't
go to
actually tell
scripture and
you.
you allow
In, the,
me to
in this particular case, he doesn't actually tell you how he's causing it, but what we can use from other scriptures, from other precepts on precepts, like you like to say, we can learn pretty easily that the way God likes to cause these things is by intervening on people's free will via hardening their hearts, via sending spirits, or via sending somebody else to persuade them.
God is capable of influencing indirectly or directly everything in this earth, everything in this universe. So by your definition, by the definition that you're using and not understanding God's character, yes, he is causing
No, you don't
everything.
understand God's character. If you understood God's character, you would know that he's perfectly okay with sexual assault, which is why he allows you to have slave wives.
Okay, so then how do you rectify if you're saying, so the thing is, it's very
Wrecked him,
difficult
damn
to have
near
a
killed him.
conversation. Oh, hold on. Would you here, let's just say this. I'm in a dark room. You and I are in a dark room and I have a candle and it's the only source of light. And you are not treating me well. And
He
because you're
wants
not
so
treating me well, I
badly to
leave the
be
room.
a victim.
No, I'm not trying. Okay, fine. Person A has a light and he walks out of the room with the light. Now, when he leaves the room, he is causing that room to be dark because his presence has left. This is the simplest way, and if I can share
Yeah. If I'm
God's
holding a
character with you
candle
without going to scripture.
and the candle is the reason why the room is light, and I walk out, I'm the reason why there's no light in that room anymore. I agree. I caused it to happen. Just like when God causes the rape to happen to these women, that means God's responsible for the rape.
Because he's left the room. And the human
No,
dominion,
because he
man's
chose it.
dominion takes over. So
No,
man's dominion comes in and they're like,
God
God is
caused
left
it.
and man's dominion is
Is-
evil. You gotta
Again, the text doesn't say that. That's something you have to make up.
What do you
See,
mean? I
again,
can show you that. There's
my
text that
biblical
says man's
hermeneutic
heart
is
evil.
always super easy. My biblical hermeneutic is never changed. It's the Bible just means what it says. When God says I'm causing it, it just means that God's causing it. You don't have to do any semantic bullshit about his permissive will versus active will. You don't have to do any of that footwork. You don't have to cry about
We're discussing
anthropomorphism.
condoned sexual
You don't,
assault. Look at
which
your
God does
prompts.
over and over again, and you're so terrified to actually believe what the text says that you have to say that the text says things it doesn't fucking say.
Hey, audience. I believe 100% what this text says, and I'm not afraid of this text. Justin keeps
Awesome.
saying that. I
I don't think you
believe this
do.
text and the
I
text.
definitely don't think he does.
I think he hates
Am
the
I on
Bible,
mute or am I
honestly.
just gone
He
now?
hates God. Isn't he just calling God a liar right now?
Am I still live, Justin, or did you just cut me?
I didn't cut you. You turned your camera off.
Oh, okay.
Your camera
right.
probably turned
I
off
just
because
wanna
your
make sure
battery's
that
about to die, by
you're-
the way. You need to plug your phone in.
Pardon me?
Your phone's about to die. Listen, you logged in using a system that gives me an infinite amount of data nearly about the device that you called in on. Your battery's about to die. You need to plug it in. I know more than your God does.
You do not.
Facts.
So,
I mean,
maybe
unlike
we'll-
God, at least Justin knows how a woman's body works. Unlike God.
That's true. Yeah. In fact, now that we've got Deuteronomy 22 pulled up, this is not even on topic. This is maybe my favorite topic ever. Listen, I could read this passage every time I go live and never get bored of this passage. Do you know about the bloody sheet?
Are you talking to me, Justin? The bloody sheet? What in
Yeah.
the temple? What are we talking about here?
No, not in the temple. No, the test of virginity. The supposed man marries a woman, but after going into her, dislikes her and makes up charges against her, slandering her by saying, I married this woman, but after I lay with her, I did not find evidence of her virginity. Right off the rip, we'll pause there. What kind of evidence do you think he was looking for?
Hey, Justin, I actually gotta go. My wife's back, but I'm gonna. You know what? You've been in my mind. I love you, brother. I hope
Yeah,
that
I'm
you
sure you
do come
do. Yeah,
to
no
know him
one gives a
someday.
shit about your fake
Yahuwah.
politeness.
See you later.
Oh, well.
He's got to go practice his kung fu.
I know, right? Listen, I wanted so badly to at some point touch on the Yahuwah stuff. Here's what I know. I know this much. This clown claims to have actually gone to seminary at a small seminary. You wouldn't know about it in Canada. That's what he said. And I don't fucking believe it. I don't believe anyone can go to seminary and still think that the name of God is Yahuwah. I can't buy into it.
Yeah, if he went to seminary in Canada, then I would expect for him to say that God's name was Yahuwah, eh?
That's fair. That's fair. That's good. That's good. Okay. I don't know why I didn't think of that one. Well, unfortunately, while Blackwell was up here not being a light in the darkness, the guest that we had in line dropped out. I don't know what happened. I guess they saw that we were actually going to read the Bible and they decided not to. So we'll read a couple of super chats while we're waiting for the next guest to load up. Thank you so much for being here, friends. We're not going to have a super late one tonight because I've got to be up at like 4 a.m, but I'm going to go as long as I can. And then here in a little bit, if Crystal is still running a live stream tonight, it started 15 minutes ago, actually 17 minutes ago. Crystal and our friend Carnage is doing a live stream tonight. It should be a lot of fun. It's something unique that we haven't done before. They're doing an atheist meet and greet, dating advice type of live stream. I'm excited. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. Who knows? We never seen it before, but I think it'd be really fun to watch. So I probably, since I'm gonna end early tonight, so I can wake up in the morning, we'll send you over there when we're done. If you're not following Critically Crystal on YouTube or TikTok, now is a good time to do it. But let me grab a couple super chats. We'll grab and hopefully we'll have another guest loaded up. Turd Burglar, amazing reference, by the way, to Celebrity Jeopardy. Epstein Files and all atrocities, God's plan are light work compared to the God Files. Oh, the God Files is such a... I like that a lot, actually. The God Files was good. I didn't think of that. We should try to develop a topic like that.
Yeah, I can see it like every instance where God either allows or causes like sexual deviancy of some kind. Call it the God Files.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I'm shocked by the amount of people that will read this book and try to do anything to make it say what it doesn't plainly say. It's crazy to me, the coping.
It wouldn't be very hard to either draw or Photoshop Epstein to make him look like Yahweh. I mean, it fits.
No, it wouldn't be too bad, actually. Hey, Mike Internet, thank you for the super chat. Says, when Ems materializes, I will super chat. And fucking, we got it. I don't blame you. Ems is an absolute legend. Absolute legend, he is. And when I see Ems pop up in other people's live streams, I stop what I'm doing, you know. Moonstar, hey, thank you for the $10 super chat. Says, Yahuwah. Yeah, you know what? That name would have been funnier. This goofy name that doesn't really exist would have been funnier if it came out during the early days of Yahoo. If anyone is old enough to remember the Yahoo, like it's like a tone that they had in all the commercials. It sounds a little bit like Yahuwah. It'd be really funny. Sand Sensibility, good to see you, friend. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Says, love the Alf shirt. Well, Uncle Dave got this for me. Thank you, Uncle Dave. It says, trust me, bro. I really appreciate that. And it's super fucking comfortable. Check out the gear on Neon Grizzly. They sent me some Alf gear because they heard I loved Alf. And I'm on board, guys. Alf is like it was a classic when I was growing up, staple rather, classic now. Carrie, hey, thanks so much for the $10 super chat. It says, has the caller considered a future as a scumbag? You know what, Carrie? I don't know if he's considered it, but that seems to be his destiny. I sense that that's in his cards. An empty directory, good to see it, says, I think smarmy is a really good word to use to describe this guy. If you read some more verses to get the full context, it also says he's a dumbass. That is the case. I do find the fake politeness off-putting, though. Never understand that. None of us are stupid. We know he doesn't. He's a lying liar that doesn't actually care about people. He cares about not going down in flames in a debate. Is what he cares about. And Carly Schleif, thank you so much for the $100 super chat. That is monumental. Really, really appreciate that. Huge W. Let's get 100 W's for Carla. Or is it Carly? Sorry if I mispronounced that. DZ, your patience is epic. Well, thank you, Carly. You know what? I felt like there's a couple times I could have been more patient with that goofball, but come on, let's be honest. No one's fooled. We all know that what he's engaging in is a cope. No one's dumb enough to actually believe that what was being described there wasn't God causing the sexual assault of these women. It's just in the text. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But thank you, Carly. I really appreciate that. And Fuzzy D, that's an interesting name. I wonder if there's a hidden meaning for Fuzzy D. Anyways, clarification: modern Hebrew does have a word for rape. Well, yeah, modern Hebrew. I did say. I should have said biblical if I didn't. Modern Hebrew is a different beast. Anyways, the word is ones. I don't have the vowels. I'm assuming there's an e vowel at the end, or onas. However, in the Bible, it simply means to compel and is once only used in Esther 1:8. Yeah. So in the Bible, it's always like an idiom. Like they're using a word as an idiomatic expression for sexual assault or rape. The word rape doesn't really appear in the Bible, but good looking out, Fuzzy. Agreed. Modern Hebrew does have some extra words that the biblical Hebrew writers didn't have. And the greater fool band, what a disgusting coward. I know. They all are. Listen, when you read these passages, you can either be honest with them or you can be a coward. He chose to be a coward. You know, it is what it is. And Dr. Fudge, good to see you tonight, says, I cut out soda several years ago, and after a month, literally everything tasted way sweeter. It was nuts. Actually, this is true. I knew someone when they hit like senior citizen years, cut out 100% of sweeteners. Fake sweeteners, real sweeteners, all of them. And then I remember one time he wanted to borrow my spoon to stir his coffee, and my coffee was kind of sweet. Just stirring his coffee with the spoon I stirred my coffee with made his coffee sweet for his taste buds. It was crazy. So yeah, you can desensitize yourself if you go cold turkey for sure. And Smack, good to see it says, sent link to my dog's Insta via email. Did you see? I didn't check my email since Wednesday. I apologize, but I will, Smack. I promise. I'm going to have lots of time tomorrow. I'm going to be hung up traveling at airports tomorrow. I should be able to have time to check some emails. And it looks like we got another guest in here. Looks like Leo. Let me grab these two super chats. We'll get Leo in here. John, my friend, thank you for the super chat. It says, all apologists live by the words of the boxer. A man hears what he wants to hear and disregards the rest. And that is the fucking truth. They don't want to be honest with this book because being honest with this book means you got to be honest with the reality that the book says some crazy shit. Rachel, hey, good to see you, friend. Thank you for the super chat. Says, I'll never understand how a woman's purity and fertility are discussed ad nauseum, but they think the creator is a dude, kind of like men, just made it up. I know. If you ever needed proof, Rachel, that the creator of this book was a man from the Bronze Age, all you have to do is see how it treats women and how it doesn't even know how women's bodies work. So yeah, the fact that it has no idea like how the female body works is a pretty good indicator that this is not from a god. All right, let's get Leo up into the guest box. How you doing, Leo?
I'm doing good. How about you, sir?
Doing well. Thanks for asking. Leo, are you at least 18?
I'm 24.
Awesome. And do you believe in the Abrahamic God?
What type of? What is it?
The God depicted in the Bible.
Oh, no.
Oh, which God do you believe in?
I believe in the. This sounds probably crazy, but I just believe in light and darkness.
I guess you don't believe in God then. Okay.
No, I
Well,
believe that the light is God. Essentially, I think there's consciousness within light and darkness, and I think consciousness.
Photons have consciousness?
Yes,
oh
and I can
God.
prove it.
Oh God.
There. All right. So, have you ever heard of the Mandelbrot set?
Yes. Yes. It's not
So,
made
if
of
you.
photons.
Oh, hold on. Just bear with me, and maybe we can try, just shed some light on this. And so, the Mandelbrot set, if you were to work the equation down, thank you, sir, thank you. If you were to work the equation and see how it formulates its answer, which we can observe that and witness it with our own eyes, if you were to just change one variable, which is the creator, that's part of this
No,
equation.
the Mandelbrot set doesn't have a creator in the equation.
It's a code. It's some sort of code that
I know how code works. I've coded professionally for 20 years of my life, but there's no
right
God
on.
in the code.
It's just the
He's
way that
definitely
the
hitting
code
all
is
the right
written.
buzzwords. Formula, code, equation.
Information's coming next. Just wait.
I just wanted to sit there and I'm just kind of inferring with you and to see how you think about it, because
Yeah,
I
so
just discovered this.
I don't know what the Mandelbrot set has to do with photons. I'm curious about Dalton's question, which is why would we think that photons have consciousness? Also, follow up to that,
Yeah.
which is, can photons choose not to travel the speed of light?
So that's where this equation, it's like a Mandelbrot set. It's not the Mandelbrot set. It's a like a Mandelbrot set. It's just how the Mandelbrot just goes into an infinite loopage of the same image over and over and over. If you were to rewrite this equation and rework it to where instead of it having rough edges and make it smoother, you can simulate the reality that we are in and observe.
Adorable. So what I'm asking though is, can a photon choose to not travel at the speed of light?
Yes.
Awesome. Then how come we've never seen it?
Um.
Can you show me an
Wait.
example
Can
of
a
a photon not traveling the speed of light?
I believe that it's not traveling the speed of light. Essentially, I believe that literally light is picking and plucking at it in a way, because the way that they observed it was it
What
just
did
shimmers
those words even mean? That light is taking and plucking?
So that's where I'm trying to introduce you to the equation of the Mandelbrot set. If you go back all the way to what we consider the Big Bang, it would show you a like Mandelbrot set at the very beginning, and it would reach out and sprawl out into the darkness, which is what happened. And so the singularity
Again,
point
this
that we
doesn't
believe that
answer
exists.
my question.
I'm trying to get to that.
No one believes in a singularity. Singularities are mathematically impossible. So my question is, have we ever observed a photon not moving at the speed of light?
Not moving at the speed of light? I believe, haven't we observed it? How would we observe something that's moving
I'm
the
asking
speed of light? You
you.
can't observe that.
No, we literally can. We can calculate the speed of light
There you
by
go.
watching it bounce off of bodies far away.
And so,
So again,
is
my
that not you
question
just
is,
answering your own question?
nope. My question is quite easy. Has there ever been an instance where we've been able to observe this photons not moving at the speed of light
You just said yes.
in a vacuum? Nope, I didn't say that.
Okay, so I can't help you there. That seems like you answered your own question. I don't know what you're lost on
Seems like
now.
you're confused. The answer to my question is no.
Okay, if that's how you're gonna go about it, I don't see your reasoning.
My reasoning is because all observations of light in a vacuum have been that it's literally moving at the speed of light, which is why it's a law of the universe that light cannot be stationary. It must move at the speed of light.
Okay, and I agree to that. So
So
what am
what
I
that
missing?
means, if a photon cannot choose to not travel at the speed of light, then it doesn't seem like it's conscious because it doesn't have the power of choice.
Okay, I understand. My bad. I apologize. I I'm directly saying that the the reason why it moves is an absolute interference by the energy that we all have, which is part of the same energy that
Oh,
created this
Jesus
like
fucking
our
Christ.
reality.
I'll never understand why we have to go over basic definitions with people. Okay, what do you think energy is? And then I'll tell you why it's wrong.
Okay, so I'm totally referring to just the absolute the only okay, so that's that makes me stumped. I'm just trying to think like wouldn't
Here,
energy just be all things, everything? Isn't that energy? Like
No.
the fact that there's anything at all, isn't that an energy?
No, that's not. Energy is a quantitative property of systems that actually exist. By quantitative, I mean it's the measurable, meaning when something changes position and velocity, that change is quantitative. When something has quantitative changes, we say that it has energy, but energy is not a thing that it exists independently. Energy is just a quantitative property of things that do exist.
And
here's what's
so
happened, and this is quite common with New Age thought. All you've really done here is that you believe in magic, and you're trying to use scientific and mathematics terms in order to make the magic sound scientific and based in reality. But none of the words that you've spoken correlate to anything in reality.
okay, what about a quark? A quark is a real observable thing that if broken
What about
apart,
it?
But a
if
quark
broken
isn't
apart, it would just
is not an infinitely complex structure, so it has nothing to do with the Mandelbrot set.
in okay, so I'm trying to connect the unexplained with a mathematical equation that we have observed.
What's the name of the equation?
I have it. If you just give me one
Actually,
moment.
I've got an equation that I think you might be interested in. Give me 1 second to put it up here. And maybe this will help us figure out what to do with you. Give me 1 second.
I remember looking at a equation. It said z new plus z old squared, and it was like equals c. And so I
That
can't remember if that was exactly how it went or
And do
not.
you know what
that's
any of those
he doesn't know what that
numbers
means.
relate to?
So
Like,
I
what does
just knew
Z
that
stand
z
for? What
was a
does C
code.
stand for? C
if
stands
you
for the speed of light.
if you
Okay,
have to
yeah, that's
choose
correct.
between having a favorite planet, would it be Mars, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, or possibly an extra planetary body like the Sun, Moon, maybe the Orion Nebula? Which one do you like the most?
As just can I have a inclinage of why you asked this question?
You'll find out. Just which one do you like the most?
Out of all the planets
Yeah.
and the solar bodies, one, I guess my favorite one is Andromeda. It's just one of the craziest looking solar bodies that we have.
All right, we're gonna put you down for Nebula 139.4, and then the next is where do you rank on a scale from 0 to 100 in the transcendent energy vibes?
In myself,
Yeah.
I believe that since light is just within our bodies, I believe we have an infinite. So I would guess I'd say
You got to
100.
be 100%. Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And then on the divine spectrum, if I'm going to say from like -5 to 10, how divine do you think the cosmos is?
Can you explain divinity?
Well, divinity means something that is of God's essence.
I don't believe anything is of quote unquote God's essence. I believe it's just
Oh,
all
interesting.
positive
Wait,
and
I
Definitely
thought
negative.
a
photons.
zero
I thought
there.
photons were God.
I mean, purely.
I
Now,
believe that consciousness is what we consider God.
I'm gonna put you down for a predetermined entropic superposition ratio of 50, which I think works. And then the only thing left is we need to plug in the Mysterium constant, and it looks like we've got a Mysterium solar resonance index value of 2.96 314 to the 20th power. That's pretty fucking good, actually. That might be the highest Mysterium solar resonance index value I've seen before. You should feel pretty proud of yourself.
Sir, thank you for that. I do appreciate you.
That's pretty interesting. Okay. Anything else?
I wanted to ask your do you believe in light or darkness or positive or negativity?
I believe that light exists in the form of photons.
Agree.
And that's
I
it.
guess that's it, sir.
Okay.
Well, thank you for your time.
Cheers.
Cheers.
You had me dead with that. Fucking hate that new age shit.
I'll never understand people who get into that kind of nonsense.
What? Too much Deepak Chopra.
Yeah, I do have to put some notes. At least he got a pretty high score in the MSRI. Yeah, a new MSRI record. So he might be the record holder right now for the MSRI. Wow. All right. Let's see. I don't think we have anybody in the guest box right now that's not a friendly. Let me grab a couple super chats. I'm sure somebody will load up. I'm waiting to hear back on Crystal. Okay, perfect. Okay, I just heard back from Carnage and Crystal. Here in about 30 minutes, I'm gonna end my stream and we're gonna send everybody over the Crystal stream. So we should have time for one more guest, and then I'll read some super chats, and then I'm gonna go to bed. But let's get Craig Reagan in here.
Cregan.
I'm sorry about that. How you doing, Cregan?
All right. I just want to say thank you so much for your show. Like, I love your show. At my campus, my teacher, I don't even know if it was appropriate or not, but he had a sign that said, "Do you think that the United States is Christian?" And I was like, and I went up there, and I've been watching your show for a while now, and you gave me a lot of ammo, and I was like, I know what you're doing. I know why you're asking this question. You're implying that you believe America should be Christian, and I don't think that America should be following the Bible.
No.
And I said to him, your morals, humans don't realize this, but their morals don't line up with the morals of the Bible.
No, not
They
at
don't
all.
they don't realize that. They think,
Yeah.
and then he started, and he kind of got me with this one, and because I didn't know the answer, so maybe you can answer this since we're talking here. He was like, "So you're telling me that the abolitionists?" And by the way, he's my history teacher. So he was like, "You're telling me the abolitionists got it wrong? That they read the Bible and they created, all these great, laws to abolish slavery. So they got their ideas from the Bible, didn't they?" And I was like, "Well, I know
No.
that they were Christian. So can you answer that? Like, how did they come up with the idea of, well, you know what, slavery is wrong, and if they were Christian, is it true they were Christian or?"
No, I mean, so here's what you need to know. First of all, at the time when abolition was a thing, fucking everybody was a Christian almost. So, like, to say that Christians ended slavery, it could be counted as trivially true, but then it would also be true that Christians were pro-slavery. In fact, the Southern Baptist Convention, the
True.
largest Christian denomination, was formed because they were against freeing the slaves and they were against giving them like autonomy and allowing them to have rights. So
Mhm.
the Christians were the ones fighting it as well. Now, on top of that, let me show you a couple things.
Yeah, think about that.
There's quite a few abolitionists that weren't even Christian or religious. Here's a couple of them: William Lord Garrison, Thomas Paine, Elizabeth Stanton, Benjamin Franklin, Ernest Renan, Harriet Martineau, John Stuart Mill, George Julian Harney, and there's others. So not only that, there were abolitionists that were not Christians. You don't have to buy into the fact that all the abolitionists were Christians. But also, the Bible just condones slavery, which is why
Right.
the proponents in the South of keeping slaves appealed to the Bible. So Jefferson Davis, never mind the fact that it says Portland speech. I actually got the wrong location. It's one of his speeches, but not Portland. Jefferson Davis says, in terms of his critics, who gave them the right to decide that it's a sin? By what standard did they measure it? Not the Constitution. The Constitution recognizes the property in many forms and imposes obligations in connection with it, with that recognition, not the Bible that justifies it. the people wanting to keep slavery knew that the Bible justified slavery, and they actually quoted from it. Here's another speech. Actually, same speech. He says, "Is it the cause of Christianity? It cannot be, for servitude is the only agency through which Christianity has reached that degraded race, the only means by which they have been civilized and elevated." So they're using the Bible and slavery for their cessation. And if you read the cessation documents, the Alabama document of cessation literally says that it's to preserve an institution that has done more to civilize and Christianize the heathen than all human agencies combined. And then we get more. The VP of the Confederacy talks about it in one of his speeches. The Texas Declaration of Secession talks about it. And here's some popular theologians from history that were pro-slavery. The Southern Baptist Convention, obviously, George Whitefield, Jonathan Edwards, John Wesley, Richard Baxter. My favorite in here is Augustine of Hippo and Thomas Aquinas, both of them pro-slavery. And as early as the church fathers are condoning it. Ignatius wrote in his epistle to Polycarp that they are not to set their hearts on gaining liberty at the church's expense, for then they only become slaves to their own longings, talking about whether or not slaves should be free. He said, no, slaves shouldn't be free. There are some who are born to be slaves, and Basil follows up. He says, it is better for a man who lacks intelligence and self-control to become another's possession. We find Ambrose of Milan says this thing. Says folly is worse than slavery. He goes on a whole tirade about how slavery is not just necessary but required by God. So there's nothing in the Bible or church history that would lead one to believe that slavery was wrong. Leviticus 25 says you can own them as possessions forever. Exodus 21 says you can own them as slaves. Nothing in the Bible says you can't do slaves.
Yeah, so I didn't know that. But why are they called abolitionists? And I thought that meant like taking away slavery.
I guess I don't understand what you mean. The abolitionists wanted to abolish slavery.
Yeah, and then you said that. I mean, I love the points that you're bringing, like, because I want to show this to him if I ever see him again. But, well, like you said, everybody had Christian beliefs. Everybody basically felt they were Christian.
Yeah, but there's nothing in the Bible that condemned slavery ever. Slavery was never condemned, not once in the Bible. It gets condemned.
That's what I was saying to him, and he was like, "So then, how did the abolitionists?
They didn't.
Why would? I don't know." He just kept saying that. So
tell him to show me the Bible verse. Show me in the Bible where it says that slavery is wrong.
I think I had asked him something like that. I said, do you have a scripture? And he was like, I don't know the scripture on top of my head. And he kept saying that.
Yeah, because there isn't one. There's no scripture that says slavery is wrong.
And then to further his point that he believes in God and that we all should believe in God, he said, where do people get good from? And I've been watching The Atheist Experience.
Not from God.
It took a couple. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It took a couple episodes for me to understand that, though. But I said to him, I think that we were born with the ability to not be racist. I think we have good in ourselves. He said, no, it has to come from somewhere. It has to come from the source. I said, the Bible actually condones a lot of bad things that you don't even think is right yourself. So if you're saying that we get it from the Bible, then why do we disagree with the stuff that was happening in the Bible?
Right.
So, and I said, I know that this is hard for you to believe, but I truly believe that we were just born pretty good people.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you actually.
So do you believe that we were born good? Or?
Not everybody, but I do believe in that evolution has granted a lot of humans with like a built-in sense of empathy.
Okay.
So I think it's definitely true that most humans, if your brain is set up right and you haven't been like heavily abused as a child, most humans have some sense of empathy and some sense of right and wrong.
Last question before I go. Are you saying that you totally I just hopped on the live. your beliefs? Are you saying you totally don't believe that there is a God or some type of creator?
No, I don't believe in a God at all.
Okay. All right, that was all. Thank you so much, man.
Well, cheers, buddy. Best of luck to you, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you for teaching the world what's right and deconstructing that horrible
I'm
religion.
trying, I'm trying.
Please, yeah, please continue.
Cheers, buddy.
Yes, sir.
All right. Friends, I've got some super chats I'm going to read. I'm going to read these super chats, and then I'm going to send everybody over to over to the live stream that Crystal and Carnage are running right now. I'm not sure if it's on TikTok or if it's on Discord yet. That's what I'm trying to figure out. I think it's on both somehow. They've got something worked out where they're on TikTok and Discord. But I'll get some more information here in a second.
And real quick, I'll say this for everyone. Next Thursday, I'm going to be doing like a special live. It's my birthday bash live. I'll be turning 30.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be like a regular day. We'll just everyone, friendlies, everyone can just come up, hang out, talk, hang out. And if you're opposition, you can come up and try to, convince me to believe in the Bible. That's what we'll be doing on next Thursday.
Imagine trying to convince an atheist named the Bible guy to believe in the Bible. That's a crazy sell.
Yeah, it happens all the time, though.
Oops, I just pinned. Oops, let me unpin that. I just pinned the wrong link. I don't know why. I tried to copy a link to the Discord channel where this is happening, and for some reason it didn't copy the link. I don't know why. Let me try this again. Click the link. Copy link. Oh, there we go. I have to press it twice for some reason. All right, now I'm going to copy the link and put it into the chat on YouTube. And I'm going to... Can I pin it? There we go. And pin that guy. So you have it there. And then we switch over to the other YouTube account. And we'll pin it there as well. And then I'm going to read what's left of the super chats and then go check out what's happening on Crystal's while I wind down and try to hopefully get to bed tonight at a reasonable time. Guys, I'm waking up tomorrow at 4 a.m. to catch a flight. So I'm not staying up late tonight. But I think I'm going to do a Q&A tomorrow during the daytime when I get there. And then I'll be live Sunday on the regular places. All the usual places, I would say. Black Hole Sun, good to see you, friend. Says, Lost 10 Tribes, British Israelism. I don't know what COG means, though. Hold on. C.O.
Church of God?
Maybe? I get so many messages that are cryptic. I'm like, I don't know what this means.
Have you heard of British Israelism?
No.
Oh, basically, I think Black Hebrew Israelite, except for instead of it being that, it's like British. So like the British people think that they're like the rightful 10 tribes of Israel. It's basically the same thing, just white superiority complex.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Also, who's doing a debate soon in March on 28th is Mr. Morpheus is going to be doing a debate on whether or not Jesus was a fraud. I'm excited. I want to publish links in the Discord to it so people have access to the links. But I think it's going to be a fun debate. It's not on his channel. It's on somebody else's channel. I just found out about it today, so I'm most excited to see Mr. Morpheus come and chew them all up. I think it should be pretty cool. I think some people here know Mr. Morpheus and some don't, but if you don't, you'll all know him eventually. Vern, hey, thanks for the super chat. Says, "Hail Justin, the twice risen Messiah of Doug. Simply wept for shared." It's true, guys. I've risen from the dead at least twice that I can remember, probably more actually that I don't remember. So Jesus' rising is basically it's child's play. And Mike says, "What's with the Alf hoodie? Trying to keep the cats away during the live?" Ellie, Alf. So Alf was one of my favorite childhood shows. I always loved Alf. It was just kind of funny that I also have cats now. the shtick in Alf was that Alf was always trying to eat the cat because on the planet Alf comes from, they eat cats. This is kind of one of those running tropes in the show. You know what I mean? And some donkus, thanks for the super chat, says, I love the MTG Jesus cup in your store. Yes. I have to print a proxy Jesus card. Yeah, the Magic the Gathering Jesus card was funny. I forget where I got the idea for it, but I was like, that I got to make that into at least into a mug. I want to figure out how to print an actual MTG card, but doesn't seem to be a good way to print that on demand, you know. Barnson, thank you for the super chat. Says Matthew 5:37. Please mention this when asking Christians to respond. I assume about righteousness exceeding the Pharisees, if I had to guess. Let me see what 37 says.
Or is that
30...
let your yes be yes and your no be no? Anything more is from the devil.
Yep, that's what it is. Yep, let your yes be yes and your no be no. Yep, that's it. Fair. You know what? The thing of it is, though, I think most Christians would interpret this passage as just being about
taking oaths,
following through, right? Yeah, it's about taking oaths, right? Which is funny. I love the fact that this verse exists because it demonstrates that, but by the time Jesus was around, even Jesus knew that this whole nonsense of like, if you take an oath on your God's name, the God will hold you accountable. He knows it's bullshit. It doesn't work.
One of my favorite Bible verses to take out of context is if Christians ask me why I don't believe in God anymore, I tell them, well, when I was a child, I spoke like a child, I thought like a child, but now that I'm an adult, I put aside childish things, quoting Paul.
Yeah. You know what? I should do a little more what's the word I'm going for? Quoting the Bible at Christians to demean them. It can be fun. It can be fun.
Oh yeah.
Base to share, my friend. Thank you so much for the super chat. It says, Justin, are you a comment etiquette fan? I actually don't know who that is. So it sounds like I need to catch up. I just Googled it right now. They've got 1 million followers. Internet comment etiquette with Eric. So I'm going to drop him a follow and find out. So I don't know, but I'll know soon. Also, she says, I've ordered from Neon Grizzly before and their stuff is great. Yeah, I thought the product was very nice, actually. Really well done. I don't know much about the website or the channel. I just met Uncle Dave via these live streams, and he offered to send me some stuff because I told him that I liked Alf. And he's like, we've got Alf stuff in our store. And so he sent me a coupon to get some Alf stuff. It was so nice of him to do that. Thanks, Uncle Dave. W Neon Grizzly. Tracy says, this is Yantu. You changed your name, though. Yep. I sent you something very special from Pop Figures. Hope you like it. Well, I haven't checked my my PO box. It's not really a PO box. It's a box with UPS. They just call it a box. I haven't checked it this week, so I don't know if there's anything in there this week. But I will definitely, as soon as I get back from my trip, I'll check it. They won't be open tomorrow when I run by and check. But as soon as I get back, I'll check it. It should be in there. Thank you for that, Yanto. I really appreciate that, friend. Or sorry, Tracy now, not Yantu. And Very Good Wizard says, thanks for doing this, Justin. Really appreciate you and the great community here. Well, thank you, Wizard. I appreciate you. Appreciate me. And we do have an amazing community, by the way. I mean, it really is just a stellar community. Let me ask one more question, though. Let me see. For people on TikTok, is Crystal live on TikTok right now? I don't think she is. I think this might be a Discord only situation. Ben Rhett, hey, thanks for the super chat, says, did you happen to see Britt Hartley video on Does Autism Disprove God? Oh, I didn't. You should do a collab with Britt one day. That would be a vid I'd like to see. I like Britt Hartley a lot. I don't know if she knows I exist. Like, she's such a large creator. I don't know if she knows I exist. Maybe she does, maybe she doesn't. But maybe chat her up while she's live. I like Britt Hartley a lot. I think she's awesome. But whether or not we could do a video, we'll see. I haven't seen that one. Does autism disprove God? But to me, I did a video a long time ago. I think autism, whether or not it disproves God, it does demonstrate that Jesus was not necessary, because theoretically, anybody with like a disability, you ask them, do they need to accept Jesus to go to heaven? A lot of people would say, well, no, they don't. Well, what that means is that people that are capable of sinning, but maybe not perfectly capable of understanding verbal communication, can never get to heaven, because you can't communicate Jesus and like the reality of Jesus without verbal communication. Let's just be honest with it. It's too complicated to not really do it. So what that means is that God made an allowance or a loophole for disabled folk, which means God wasn't really all that necessary. God could have created all kinds of loopholes for literally fucking anybody. Also, very good wizard with the follow-up. Thank you. Says, Justin, my partner wants to know what aftershave you're wearing, and also, why do you put catnip in it? Actually, typically, I don't always wear aftershave unless I'm going out, but the one that I do use religiously, pun intended, is Old Spice. I wouldn't be here if my granddad didn't use it, and I think it's an amazing product. I love to smell. It's not for everybody. I get some people don't like it, but I still love Old Spice. I even use the Old Spice deodorant, and I've got I don't use pomade in my hair typically. My hair just dries where I need it. But if I do use pomade, I've actually got one made out of castor oil that smells like it smells like Old Spice. So my deodorant, my aftershave, and my pomade actually all smell the same. It happens to be that's just my smell. So if I dressed up and I went out and you smell something that smells like your grandfather, it's probably me. Steve, hey, thanks for the $5 super chat. Friend says, why do they love 29-year-olds? Because there are 29. Oh, fuck. Crazy good Muslim joke, by the way. I actually didn't see it coming. That's fucking amazing. But it's horrific, but true. It is. Darth Smack, thank you for the super chat. Says, I recall Ian saying he believes in objective morals. Unless I'm misremembering, what's your take on his position? Well, the reason why he can hold the objective morals and I can't is because I'm not. I don't believe in Platonism. I don't believe in Platonic forms. I don't believe in. I don't believe in any transcendentals. So that's where we differ. If I did believe in like the laws of logic existing platonically, then maybe you could convince me of his argument. But that's where, since we don't agree on those things, we're not going to agree on morality. But that's fine. I love his argument for objective morals. If I was a Platonist, I would use the argument. It's a good argument. And still attacks. It says, God's in my living room. No way. Yahweh. That's a fucking classic, by the way. That's a classic, actually. When I was in church, even when I was a Christian, that got used quite a bit. Although some Christian circles get a little. When you start using the name Yahweh, they get a little uneasy. Like, are we supposed to be using the name? I actually used to converse with some people online that wouldn't even say God. They put G-D. I'm like, his name's not fucking God. You can just write God, right? But they were so hung up on that kind of nonsense.
Were they Hasidic? Because normally outside of Hasidism, I don't see that.
They were Christian.
Very, very strange.
Yeah, it was a weird, sheltered, homeschooled folk.
Okay, now that makes sense. They were probably Hebrew roots or something like that, right?
Had to be Hebrew roots. Yeah. I can only imagine had floor length jean skirts on too.
To Kazak in the comment section saying "goddamn question mark." No, like a lot of Hasidic Jewish people, out of reverence for God, they won't write God. Instead, they replace the O with a dash, like that, because that's the extent that they take the reverence for God's name.
Right. Still attacks. Actually, did I just skip one by accident? Let's see. No, I don't think that's what we had up here. Okay, Still attacks says, Dalton, what is that cool jazzy tune you play before your live starts?
It's just a generic jazzy tune. It's 5 minutes long, which was perfect because I do a thing. I don't know, Justin, if you see, I do a thing where I have like a 5-minute like little countdown timer leading up to the show starting, and I just have a jazzy tune playing. Well, it doesn't have a title. It's just a generic jazzy tune.
That's fun. Fun. Spurting Fluid Dynamics, amazing fucking name. You changed your name again too, by the way. That's fine. Let's see. It used to be what was it last time? Was it Skaggs? Ricky Skaggs? I forget. Thank you for the super chat though. It says just saying hello. It's been a while, but rest assured, I'm a lurker. Hey, we appreciate that. Nothing wrong with lurking. You're allowed to lurk as long as you want. And Gina, hey, thanks for this 279 Canadian chat. Says check this guy's hard drive. Jumping for joy. What the fuck? I know. But no one's jumping for joy over these horrific Bible passages. That guy he's coping is what he's doing. That's what's happened. And Turd Burglar, thank you for your donation, friend. And Turd Burglar also for the follow-up says, about to spiritually pay my taxes. Yes. In fact, actually, tax season's coming up, y'all. Make sure you're on it. Tax season's coming the fuck up. It's already almost March. It always sneaks up on me, and then I'm like in a rush like 1 week before the deadline. Ursmont, my friend, thank you for the super chat. Good to see you too, by the way. It says Blackwell is another Sam Gipp alumni. Yes. I would not be shocked if he was a King James onlyist and just didn't tell us yet, and he worshipped at the foot of Sam Gipp. Ugh. Or what's the other guy I'm thinking of that was really popular in that circle? What was his name? He used to draw pictures when he was preaching.
Oh, you're talking about the guy, the typically white button-up shirt, bigger guy, stands in front of a blackboard and always has a little sermon with while he's writing on the blackboard.
Let's see. I don't know if that's the same guy. Why can't I think of his name? Peter Ruckman. Peter Ruckman was a super, super well-known King James onlyist, but he got popular as a pastor because he would draw large portraits in like chalk on a board while he was giving his sermon, and it was like he timed it with the sermon so that he would finish the picture as the sermon was ending, and a lot of people really liked him, but he was an idiot.
That's not a bad. I mean, like, listen, if you're gonna be a preacher, that's a pretty good shtick.
I know. I mean, even when I was a young Christian, I was like, he's a maniac, but that's pretty fucking good. Like, that'll keep you interested, right?
Yeah.
Whatever you got to do to keep the eyeballs. Anyways, thank you, Ursma. I really appreciate that. It says, Sam Gipp, dying on the hill of defending SA, won't read the book, will lie about it. Stay cooking, Justin. Well, thank you, Ursma. I appreciate that. And Ekipo, thank you so much for the €5 chat. Says, what a effing normal person sees in an anti-SA topic on TikToks and think, yeah, I'm going to go and argue against it. It's kind of crazy, actually, that there are people... There are two classifications of people. People that literally haven't read the book. And they're like, surely it can't say that. And there's people like Blackwell who have read the book and they're like, well, it says it, but it obviously must mean something else. No, the fuck, it just means what it means, y'all. 5Ds of Dodgeball is a crazy good name. Dodge, duck, dive, dip, and dodge. A very good one. Thank you for the super chat. It says, for Blackwell's analogy to be complete, he needs to add the part, I am leaving with the candle and making it dark, specifically to punish you. Yes! These people never have workable analogies, ever. Ever. They don't have enough abstract thinking to come up with analogies.
What Blackwell just sounds like the name of a Sherlock Holmes villain. Just saying.
That's true.
Lord Blackwell, defending SA.
Yeah. Lord Sneech Blackwell. There's got to be something. Mr. Briefs, thank you for the super chat. Says, in Canada, God is called Yahoser. You're right. It was his Canadian accent that did it. That's what it was.
Yahoser.
Yeah. I know people will tell me there's no real Canadian accent. Bullshit. I've spent a lot of time in Canada. There is. There might not be one in like downtown Toronto, but the rest of Canada, there's an accent, y'all.
Don't
Daniel
you know?
Exactly. It's very actually very reminiscent of like northern Minnesota.
Yeah.
ISO says flawlessly dismantled. Well, thank you, ISO. I appreciate that. Although, in his mind, he thinks that he just won the conversation. Blackwell does. Hey, Jessica, good to see you tonight. Thank you for the 5 Aussie chat. It says, if the sheepdog leaves his guard post, which allows the wolf to break into the hen house, then the sheepdog is responsible for what happens to the hens. That is the fucking case. Trying to call God's causing it just an act of negligence doesn't seem to make it any better. Like it's not helping the situation. And cognitive dissonance, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. It says Justin definitely made Blackwell's spank bank.
Yeah.
There are some people that just can't go to bed at night until somebody spanks them. Like they're just in bed. Oh God, I want to sleep, but I just need a good fucking spanking. And some, Blackwell might be one of them. Bobby says, can you explain, like I'm 5 years old, what tag is? Oh, the transcendental argument for God. It generally goes like this. There are these transcendental categories. Like some would say the laws of logic, or like what your brain does, like imagination. And transcendental categories can only be grounded in something else that's transcendental. So we're going to say that they're grounded in a transcendental being who has the ability to create these transcendentals. It's not a good argument. It usually devolves into like trying to, how do you ground knowledge? Bullshit like that. It's not workable. All tag arguments almost exclusively end up with, you must accept that transcendentals exist, but I don't. So it's a non-starter for me. Klein, thank you for the $20 super chat, friend. I appreciate that. That's huge. Wild response. I ran the argument that God caused the essay to the innocent wives of David to a pastor. The response? We all deserve that punishment. First of all, that's fucking crazy. I've heard that, but I've never heard it from a pastor. From a fucking pastor. We all deserve to be raped is crazy work. I'm not fucking shocked. What the fuck? Also, ever thought about cooking Wes Huff's points? Please do. I did once. I did a group video like a year ago with Dr. Kip and Josh on slavery. And we did a big takedown on one of his slavery apologetics videos. But he doesn't really do live debates. So like I'm never going to get the chance to debate him live. And I get it. Just because somebody does apologetics doesn't mean they want to do debates. And he doesn't want to do debates. And that's fine. But I will forever make fun of him for not knowing how to pronounce the Biblia Hebraica Stuttgartensia. He fucked it up on Joe Rogan's podcast. And you can see him fucking it up. And he knows he's fucking up as the words are leaving his mouth, but he couldn't stop himself. He had to keep saying it. So that's fun. I don't know if you watched that yet. Please find the clip, Dalton, of him not knowing how to pronounce the BHS.
That was on Joe Rogan?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I'll find it.
It's fucking unbelievable. Professional, did you change your name in the middle of the live stream? Your name was not that last time you super chatted, but thank you for the super chat. Says, when a caller says, I think, they're about to say some incoherent, unsubstantiated bullshit. How cooked can one's brain possibly get? Pretty damn cooked, actually. Yeah. When they say, I think, usually that means, like, hold my beer. I'm going to say some shit. Hey, Dr. Joe. Good to see you, friend. Thank you so much for the super chat. It says, energy is all things. I know. A great woo way to start the weekend. Let's align chakras. You know what we don't get here nearly enough, or is any people talking about chakras? I feel like with all the woo we get, there should be chakras talk, but they're not that much. I'll have to work on that. See if we can find some chakras hanging around. Con School, hey, good to see you tonight. Thank you for the super chat. It says turned 34 last year and threw a Con Outlives Jesus party. That's a good idea. I'm sad I didn't. Served my disciples miraculously multiplied sushi and a fortune cookie Eucharist. That's amazing. Rock hard for like, that's a really good idea, Con. I'm only sad that I didn't think of it. It's not too late. I could theoretically still do it. I'm way past 33 now, but it's never too late to trash on Jesus being a liar and a fraud. Mike Bden, beautiful kitty, says, "Hey Dalton, you never told me what shade of lipstick, and you still owe me a kiss."
Oh, for some reason, almost every single theist that comes on my live thinks I'm wearing lipstick. I just got kissable lips, y'all. I can't help it.
I mean, some people are just born with luscious, kissable lips, and some people get bird lips like me. But you know what you should do? If it was me, I would slowly, over the course of like a year, just putting on almost invisible shades of lipsticks until you slowly increase it to the point where you're actually wearing real lipstick, and to see how many people notice the progression.
My lips are really red on screen for some reason, but I've got like chapstick too, and I'm always putting it on in the middle of the show, so it makes it look even more damning. That's fine. I look hella fine.
I need to think of a new prank to pull. I haven't pulled an on-screen prank in a long time. I used to love progressive pranks. I did a podcast with a buddy where at one point he was like, "We need ferns on this set." And I was like, "Well, we can add them virtually." So like over like the next 3 months, I just added like a new plant on the set virtually, until like after a while, like the whole screen was like nothing but us and plants. And then he's like, "Did you add plants?" I'm like, "Motherfucker, we've had plants for 3 months. I've been adding them every week until you finally noticed. And then out there, like, there's more plants than people on screen. How did you not notice?"
I've decided that I'm going to start growing my hair back out, but only so that I can dye my hair blue so that everyone knows that I'm a raging leftist.
Yeah, that's how you know. Yep.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to talk about pronouns unless you've dyed your hair blue, or you got like what the nose ring.
Septum ring, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet. Not there yet for that.
I'm a raging liberal, but you know what? If you're a real Satanist, you have to have one. So I suspect I'll have to get one before it gets too late. Tom Gregory, thank you for the super chat, friend. Says, "Hello, Justine. Glad to catch you live. The funniest Alf bit was I haven't eaten. I gotcha. I thought you were doing a bit right there with Alf bit, but you weren't. The funniest bit from the show Alf was, I haven't eaten a cat since all the women have been on their trip." Rock hard for Doug. But it is good. Actually, there's only like 4 seasons of Alf. It didn't run that long. I should go back and rewatch all of them. There's some funny lines on there. And there's some heartwarming family moments too, but there's some pretty good one-liners. Evan Rock, my friend, thank you for the super chat. Says, "Miracle of Doug, while listening to your call with Alice on Monday," that was a tough one to hear. That was a tough one. "I was possessed by a spirit of softness. Oh. But I prayed to Doug after he made me rock hard again." Of course he would. Doug has never left anybody flaccid, and he never will. He'll always make sure you rock hard, friends. And some donkeys, thank you for the follow-up, says, "What do you get when Jesus rides 2 donkeys? My ass." You can just say ass here. Wait, I think you can say ass in super chat. My ass? My A55? I feel like there's a joke here I'm not getting. What's an A55? Hold on.
Here, let's take a look.
It's a Samsung phone. That's not it.
I feel like they're just trying to censor the word ass.
Maybe. When you ride 2 donkeys, are you saying that you have 2 asses? Is that what I'm understanding here? What do you get when Jesus rides 2 donkeys? I apologize, some donkeys. I guess I don't get it. Although your name has donkeys in it. Is that the plural of donkeys? Are you saying that you're 2 donkeys? I've got questions. John Westerman, last name of maybe one of my favorite biblical scholars ever, Klaus Westerman. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. It says, "Doug thought I should send a little appreciation for many hours of knowledge." Well, thank you, John. I really appreciate that. I do put, and Dalton does too. We put a lot of time into these live streams and trying to deconstruct people from these dangerous religions. We really appreciate people that are supporting us to make it possible. Because without supporters, let's be honest, it wouldn't be possible to spend this much time doing it. Jack Patterson, thank you for the 616. Also, hail Nero. Says, "Thomas Aquinas is in the same lane with Isaac Newton, incredible genius in their fields, but horrible human beings. Great internet presence, Justin. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm trying to make rounds on other people's channels as much as possible to get exposure. This year, we'll see how far we can reach. And Dalton is the same. Dalton, we're going to get Dalton on every channel possible. So it's going to be the year Dalton, y'all. And Gentleman Viking says, what did the Muslim couple from Minnesota name their son? Yasser, you betcha. Yasser, you betcha. Amazing. Also, great channel. If you haven't followed You Betcha, I highly recommend it. They make me laugh every fucking time. Yeah, this is a funny channel. I remember when that channel first came out, I remember watching it thinking, I wonder if they're going to stick with it because they could make something really cool here. And looks like they did. Simple Programmer says, just seeing if I can super chat ass. The word, I mean. You can super chat it. You don't have to. And we're not Christian. We don't care. You can cuss all you want. Fuckity fuck. You know what I mean? It's not a problem for us at all. And last super chat from NC Magic. Thank you so much. Is hi, Justin. I was curious if you could briefly touch on other contexts which the word for fulfill is used in Matthew 5:17. That one always kind of throws me for a loop because it seems kind of vague. Well, here's what you need to know. I'll show you the different places where it shows up. But the thing that you need to know is it can never mean that the law is going away. I don't care what you think it means. It cannot mean that the law is going away because then Jesus would be directly contradicting himself. If Jesus says, I did not come to abolish the law, I came to get rid of the law, that's a direct fucking contradiction. It's a useless statement. So fulfill must mean something other than abolish. And most scholars believe that when Jesus says fulfill, he means to bring it into a more a state of fullness where you're following a law, the weightier matters of the law. That's why Jesus chastised the Pharisees for ignoring the weightier matters of the law, even though they're tithing their dill and cumin and spices. So Jesus wants to bring people back to the law, but the right way, the full way. That's what it means here to fulfill the law. But you can just click on the word on like any lexicon and look and see where it shows up to see how it gets used elsewhere. So it shows up in the Thayer's Greek lexicon to make full, to fill up, to cause to abound, so on and so forth. But if you just want to see where it gets used and how it gets used, you can click at the bottom of this concordance row. There should be a link. Jeez, oh Pete, so many. This is a long page. Here we go. Should be a link. There are 88 occurrences of the word. And Matthew 1:22 says, it took place to fulfill. This is the prophecy of Jesus being born of a virgin, even though he wasn't. The word fulfill shows up. This took place to fulfill, meaning to be the realization of this, right? Same thing in 2:15. So it's the same thing they're going to say over and over again to say that Jesus fulfilled prophecies. It just means to bring to fruition. It looks like it gets used a lot for that. And same thing to fill something up, like to fill up a vessel, Matthew 23. So, I mean, it's just a generic word for fill. I mean, it could be used in a lot of different ways. So, in fact, even in the New American Standard, they translate it here to be increase. So that's what I would do. If you want to do a word study on it, I think a good way to do a word study is to look at all the 88 occurrences. Or get like a really good lexicon like the BDAG. I've got, when I was in seminary, I think I had to pay like $300 for my BDAG. And it's a really good resource if you want to get a deep dive on, or you can get the Theological Workbook of the New Testament. The Theological Workbook of the New Testament does a deep dive on a lot of these like keywords as well. But again, that's a little bit expensive as well. I think you could probably check it out on archive.org for free though. I bet they've got a free copy. Anyway, I mean, I hope that helps. It just means to bring to fullness. It doesn't mean that it goes away. And some Donkus says, take another 5 so I can say ass. You did it. Since I couldn't earlier, Bob Saget. I don't. Well, thank you so much for the follow up, but I don't know what Bob Saget has to do with this now. You keep sending me riddles.
It's an expletive. It's just an expletive. Explicative. Just say Bob Saget like a curse word.
Is it really?
Yeah,
Oh,
I've
I
heard
didn't
it.
know that.
At least in my generation, we used to say it in high school a lot. Bob Saget.
Okay, well now I know. And last one from Sand Sensibility says, enjoyed your video with Joel Reed's Bible. That was delightful. That's because Joel is fucking hilarious. I'm gonna try to set up a time with Mezzo as well. Maybe I can get both of them too for a follow up. But Joel is phenomenal. If you go to my main channel, I released a video last week with me and Joel Reed's Bible. If you're not following Joel Reed's Bible, highly recommend it. He's hilarious. And we got a follow up, guys. Got steps. I gotta go. Thank you though for the super chat. It says, Tracy, formerly artist known as Yantu, says the year of Dalkin. Well, it is the year of the fire horse. I don't know what the fire horse is, but it will be the year of Dalkin. Even if he doesn't have a mustache, it's going to be his year. We're gonna blow him up this year.
100%. Yeah, hopefully.
All right, friends, I'm going to show y'all where we're going. So if you're not in the Discord yet, today is the day that y'all got to join the Discord. Go to discord.gg/DZ Discord. Let me make sure that's right. Discord.gg/DZ Discord. Yeah, link. Oh, no, maybe it's .com. Sorry, give me 1 second. Oh, no, I apologize. It's tinyurl.com/DZ Discord, right? Yep, that's the one. If you're watching right now, the easiest way to get into the Discord is go to tinyurl.com/DZ Discord. And once you get there, you'll see there's a live event happening right now in our Discord. So in our Discord right now, you can log in, go to live event, and they're doing an atheist dating meetup and love advice live stream. Crystal is. It's the first time we've ever attempted it. I think it's a fun idea. The general idea was that it was supposed to be like speed dating, but virtually within the Discord. I don't think they're doing it on TikTok at all. It's just in the Discord, but it's a good reason to stop by and patronize the stream, and also to join the Discord if you haven't. We do lots of fun stuff in the Discord. Highly recommend getting involved in our Discord. It's tinyurl.com/DZ Discord. There's also a link to it in my link tree. And so that's where I'm going to be. I'm going to end the live stream. I'm going to go get ready for bed so I can wake up at 4 a.m. And I'll be listening to this live stream in the Discord while I'm doing that. Thank you so much for being here, friends. Dalton, good to see you tonight, buddy. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, it was good hanging out, bud. And you have a wonderful night.
Absolutely. You too, buddy. Cheers.